Hello, everybody, and good morning. It is August 18th, 2023, 9:20 a.m. I am not wearing my suit, my blazer today. Today, I said, you know what? I went to the gym. I put on this red sweatshirt. I worked out. I'm sweaty. Looked at the market. It was really red. I'm like, you know what? I'm matching with the market. It only seems appropriate that we end out a bloody week with wearing the red. So I decided to just wear the red. We've got a red market today, folks. We've got a very red market. We got a lot to talk about in terms of why it's red, what we've got going on. Palantir is under $14. Sofi is under $8. Robinhood is under $10. PayPal hit its 52-week low. And we've got to make sense of it. Now, top level overview before we get into it. Again, if you've been keeping up with any of my videos, any of my streams, and really just been keeping up with the markets in general, this is not one of those catastrophic, oh my goodness, the world is ending type of corrections. This is a much needed, healthy correction that is incredibly reasonable for a variety of reasons that we'll get into. And it's one of those things where, look, if you didn't capture your gains at the top because you would be trying to time the market, which is incredibly difficult to do, you just got to deal with the red and realize that you're in this for the long term. And if you're not selling, if you don't need the cash tomorrow, because hopefully you don't need the cash tomorrow, whatever's invested, then you can sit with a little bit of the red and see it go through over the next couple of years. But we're going to see what happens today and see how the market opens up on a Friday. Sasky Rose, Mark LeBlanc, Duke Trillion, Sam Chen, Miles, Ray, Will, Imnop, Abraham, Laza, Monty, Den, Harry, Joseph, Viegas, Hakun, Stein Sound, Ray, Den, Dex, Bot, Kevin Smith, TJ, The Wheel Deal, Astricus, Ralphie G, Bot 101, Her Tweet Cat. Thank you all for being here. I'm here to save money on a therapist. All right, here, put this in the chat as I open up the market and it's some of these charts. What is your vice on a red day? Meaning, what do you do? Do you eat a Twinkie? Do you drink some alcohol? Do you smoke a blunt? Do you light up some cigarettes? Do you just watch some Netflix? So, like, what is the vice you have to do to distract yourself from a portfolio that's red? Because I'll tell you right now, I mean, July 31st, my portfolio was beautiful. I mean, it looked like I was on top of the world. I could have bought a new car with the gains. Like I could have done a lot of stuff. Obviously, I wasn't going to do that, and now, those are gone. And it's because I'm playing a little bit more of the long game. I want to cash out around 2024, 2025. I'm not in the business of doing this right now. And I want to share a tweet I said on Palantir yesterday, actually, to highlight some of this. But obviously, it sucks, right? Seeing those gains just disappear. That is the game we're playing. And I've said this many, many times. The fact that we get to play this game, the fact that I was able to see those tens of thousands of dollars, then the fact that they go away, that's just the game. And if you have a long-term mindset, that game eventually plays out in the end for you being a winner. So many people on the planet do not get to play this game because they know nothing about investing. They're not interested in it. They think it's a scam. They don't understand, the concepts of even investing in the stock market. And so the fact that we get to play the game, I enjoy the process of playing the game. And if you're playing it long, then hopefully you'll get some returns in the long term and you don't have to be that scared over a little bit of red that happens with regular corrections. So let me share one tweet and then we'll get into it. Yeah, but what is your vice? What do you do when things go pretty bad? Crossroads says, I do things with the family, exercise, cook, go on a date with my wife. That's a good idea. McDonald's, not a Cheesecake Factory because the market's red. Choke the chicken. Okay, I know what that means, but I'm not going to go further into that. I have a long-term mindset, but not unlimited cash to buy the dip. And see, this is the thing. When it's red, like, honestly, the biggest concern I have right now is I don't have a lot of cash. I actually just got a cash infusion. I got some net new funds yesterday, which was awesome. But it's not as much as I want to be able to buy the dip. And I don't even know if I'm going to spend all that money to get into the market. We're going to see how low it can really get. So yeah, I may be buying the dip a little bit today, but not having a lot of funds also is one of the things that sucks during this time. And that's just kind of what you got to deal with at the end of the day as it comes. So this is what I said yesterday. If you didn't sell Palantir at 20 and capture your gains, there is zero, and I really mean zero reason to be upset that it's falling. Because if you wanted it to stay at 20 and just stare at paper gains, that's fine, but that's not how the market works. Or you might have thought it was headed to 30. If you saw those earnings, there was no way in hell it was going to 30. There's this weird trend on Twitter where there's a bunch of Palantir content creators that are like, oh, valuation doesn't matter, like it's undervalued. Oh, all of these guys are fucking idiots. Let me say that again. You are a fucking idiot. I'm sorry for my French this early in the morning. If you're telling me that $30 is reasonable for Palantir given that earnings, you know nothing about investing. It's just that. I don't care what credentials you have. To say that 13% year-over-year growth justifies a $70 billion market cap, you're an idiot. It's just that simple. You are an idiot. And because these people are acting like, oh, it's just no big deal. It's like, no, like valuation matters. There is you have to be humble enough to recognize there are buyers and sellers in a market. And those buyers and sellers have to come to an agreement on a valuation in order for a stock to sustain that valuation. The reason why Tesla's 800 billion, the buyers and sellers have come to that agreement that it should be worth 700 billion bucks. Palantir has nothing to justify being worth $70 billion. So a lot of people saying that, it just didn't make a lot of sense. So if you didn't sell, then unless you love looking at numbers that aren't real on your brokerage, you should probably want to acquire more shares at even better valuations if you believe in AIP, along with a variety of other factors. S&P inclusion, various contracts up for play, the decade of AI just getting started. Lower prices should be your friend, not your enemy. You shouldn't be afraid of lower prices, but you should be definitely weary of valuation, because it just doesn't make that much sense to expect Palantir being that high at some of these levels. Davis says, boy, I'm upset. Had to quit my job to focus full-time on school now. Got no dip buying. Davis, you're in school? I thought you were like, oh, wait, you're in med school, right? Oh, yeah, you are in med school. I was like, you're not 19. You're not in regular college. I think you're a little bit older. But yeah, it's really important to understand that. I think this makes a lot. I think in a lot of ways, this market is teaching people about valuations. And look, I learned about valuations when I bought Palantir at $25 back in 2021, when the numbers, as we see, it's 1370 right now, down 3% in the pre-market. Didn't even make sense to be valued at $25, right? Even the growth in 2021 didn't justify the valuation back then. So I think learning about valuations is important. It's something that keeps you humble. It's something that gets you away from the hype narrative of qualitative analysis, because as important as that is, the quantitative stuff is what determines what a price is ultimately going to become. So anyone who says valuation doesn't matter, it's just like, no, you don't understand at that point, I lose you as like a serious person that understands anything about investing. Because I was that person once, and I know how much of an idiot that person is that says valuation does not matter. There are certain moments where you don't care as much about the forward PE, but there are other moments when you're like, wait a second, 13% year-over-year growth, that's like less growth than Snapchat or Spotify. Yeah, that you can't justify a massive tech valuation on that growth. And so I think a lot of that stuff does matter at the end of the day. My Palantir position isn't full, so I'm happy about that. That's also one thing about me. My valuation, my Palantir position, my average is 15. So now I'm underwater, and I've been honestly waiting to be underwater for a long time so I can buy more. My Palantir, I want to get my average to at least $11, and hopefully if we have the next couple months to get to there, that would be really important. But I'm happy if it goes up. Don't plan to sell. I'm happy if it goes down because I get to buy. And so it makes it a really simple decision for me to be able to do what I need to do. TJ the Wheel Deal says, I scooped up a few more thousand shares of Sofi at 1750. 5 years from now, it might not matter. But right now, the trade is looking pretty dumb. I think you meant 750, TJ, not 1750. Or unless you're talking about, yeah, I think you mean 750, not 1750. But look, that's also a really good thing to do in terms of getting it for the long term. Love him. It's French. I'm sorry. It's the red shirt in me. It's bringing me out. Because there were people on Twitter literally saying, like, you're crazy. Palantir at 17 is a great deal. And I'm just like, and they were trying to be smart about it too around valuation. And I just didn't even respond. I was just like, this is going to be a stupid conversation, because if you're telling me Palantir should be worth 30 times price to sales, and at $30 it's undervalued, it's like we can't have a good discussion about this, because it's like we're on a separate world. It's like, no, we need to be able to come together. And look, I'm the one who talks about the story the most. I'm the one who talks about the qualitative philosophy the most. And if I'm saying the valuation matters, then obviously I think there's something that we have to take into account. Tesla at 213, down 2.4%. Christopher Patel on the podcast yesterday, Finance Junkie, said it's going to 150. Jeremy Financial Education puts out a video yesterday with a lot of good reasons for why it's going to 150 as well. Will they be right on the price? I mean, we'll see, but definitely some short-term headwinds coming in for Tesla. NASDAQ 13,316. The S&P is at 433 in the pre-markets. We were at 450 a week and a half ago. So we're seeing a pretty decent decline in the S&P. I think we got 13 more points to go, get to 420, and then we'll see a little bit more capitulation. Maybe some of that money market fund, $5 trillion enters in, and we get a little bit more liquidity into the markets. But I think right now, with bonds yielding what they're yielding, it's going to be a little bit harder for that money to come into the stock market unless we get good prices. Look at that. End phase below 130. I think this is the first time I'm seeing it at 130, at 129, 129.50, and Robinhood at 988. This is the one I'm looking to buy the most today, and we'll see where the price ends up going. But Robinhood also below $10. All right, here we go. It's a bloody day, August 18, 2023, 9:30 a.m. For your sanity, look at your portfolio just a couple times today, because it's going to be red. The stock market is open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. All right, let's get into it and let's see what we've got going in the context of Palantir. $13.86 down 2%. We are below 14 Dolores on Palantir. Apple, 172. Apple was $190. If you had Apple puts, you did well on those. Apple now 172. It is now below a $3 trillion market cap. NASDAQ at 13,186. Look at that, 100-point drop as soon as the market opens. That is bloody red. We are headed to 12,000 if we continue up with this trend. S&P at 433, HIM $6.78, Disney at 85, Apple 172, Walmart is green in a sea of red. So Walmart, their earnings helping them up a little bit. SoFi under $8, $7.97, Palantir at 13.83, Target 129, Tesla 215, Bank of America $29.11, Truist Financial $28.50. The regionals are not recovering at all, at least not in the market that we're having right now. The regionals are down, and the regionals are really not getting love. And quite frankly, they probably don't justify the love or any rebound right now until the market fully gets to a bottom. Nvidia at 427, Home Depot is red, Dutch Bros is red, JP Morgan is red. If JP Morgan, PacWest, Zion, KeyBank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo are going to be red, then all the regional banks are likely going to be red. Enphase at 130, so it overcomes the 129. That it was right at the pre-market, but it's down. Robinhood officially under $10, $9.94. PayPal $57.59. This one's down about 24% for the entire month. So PayPal is also the color of my shirt today. Coinbase is down. Bitcoin. Elon Musk's SpaceX sold $373 million of its Bitcoin yesterday. Look, and I've read a couple of articles. That's not what caused the flash crash. What caused the flash crash is more so the setting up of illiquidity within the crypto markets. But I also think that's a lot of BS. I think what's really caused the flash crash was the Wall Street Journal reporting that SpaceX sold almost $500 million worth of Bitcoin. And then people were like, well, yeah, we got to sell. So that kind of triggered it. Could this be an attractive price? I'm not sure. I don't know the most about crypto. Some people are saying it's headed below 20 grand, but it is below 30 grand, which it was at just a couple of days ago. Meta at 278, also a precipitous decline from 326. Snowflake at 143. Ginkgo Bioworks, $1.15 or $1.50. Kathy Wood bought another 189,000 shares. Also, Kathy bought like 700,000 shares of UiPath yesterday. This is a robotic processing automation company. It's interesting. I haven't looked super deep into it, but Kathy, this is the one stock that's in all 6 of our ETFs, and she bought a crap ton of it yesterday. I actually didn't even go through the earnings, so I'll have to look in a little bit more and see just why Kathy's so interested in it. Shopify, $51. Unity at $33. This was at $50 the day of the Apple announcement, so we've seen a nice decline on Unity. Unity might be one to take a deeper look at if the Vision Pro becomes what we think it can become, because Unity might be a big player in that ecosystem. QQQ is down $3.56. Microsoft $3.14. Pinterest $26. Netflix $400. We are 79 cents away from Netflix going under $400. AMD at 102. This one's fell pretty nicely from its earnings at 119, and Oracle at 114. So all eyes are on Nvidia next week. I believe that's going to be on Wednesday or Tuesday. That's Wednesday. This is going to determine a lot of where the rest of the market goes. And look, if Nvidia crashes, we might actually see the bottoming of the market because prices are going to get stupid. But if Nvidia does well, the market might be a little bit confused and not sure exactly where to take it. Palantir recovering at $14.05 right now, so the dip was eating up just a little bit on Palantir. SoFi also recovering at $8. Did Robinhood recover a little bit? Robinhood at $9.99, so it's trying to recover. I want to share a good tweet on Robinhood as well by Arnie, and then we'll discuss a little bit more on some other stuff that's going down. 8K so far today. That's not bad, June. Because your boy is down a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, okay, in the chat, if you care for sharing, how much are you down this week in the chat? How much are you down this week? Should I share as well? How much I'm down this week? Now, overall, I'm up, but obviously the gains from July have been wiped out. Yeah, this week is. Oh, actually, no, this week has not been that bad. This month is bad. Wait, I feel like I have to refresh this. I feel like there should be more that I'm down. Let me share this tweet by Arnie while I'm looking for this. If you feel comfortable, though, share in the chat how far you are down. Maybe it'll be some community bonding for the 600 people that are here. Okay, Garcia's down 6K. Not bad. Practical investing down 300K. That's pretty fucking bad. Mark V, overall up 35K. Okay, overall. We're not asking for overall, Mark. You can't slide that overall. We need to know exact numbers. I'm not asking how tall you are when you wear boots. I'm asking how tall you are without the boots. Matt's down 7K. TJ's down 750K. I actually believe that because TJ manages a lot of money. So TJ, you don't count. You manage so much fucking money, it doesn't count. But TJ's down 750K. That's a lot. Bro, just imagine looking at your portfolio like, damn, I'm down 750,000. Now, as an investor, as someone who has actually integrated themselves into the paradigm and the architecture of what it means to be in the financial world, 750 to TJ, given I know he manages 10 million and he publicly talks about how much he manages, that's a lot. But at the end of the day, that's like me being down in 2021, like 45,000 I was down. And look, that sounds like a lot. It's just a different scale. But as an investor, you know, if you don't have your money tied up in bullshit like AMC or Shiba Inu, if it's in quality stuff like Palantir at $7, Tesla at 100, SoFi at 4, it's going to come back. And so that recovered. Now, when is it going to recover? You never know. But if you're in the right stuff, TJ is going to be up around 750 one day, and all of us will be up. So it's just a question of mentally, how do you kind of deal with that when you see yourself down? Edmund is down 130,000. Abraham's down 6,000. Justin's down 60K this week. In August, I lost 115K. Now, did you lose or is it a paper loss? Because paper loss is different, but that's why I say down versus I lost. 33 down for the month. Pat Imnop is down 35,000 this week. Goodness gracious. Okay, let me check how much I'm down this week. Okay, it's actually, I'm down 7,000 this week. Wow, why did I think it was so much more? I don't think Robinhood's showing the right answer, bro. There's no way. There's no way Robinhood's showing the right, because yesterday it was down like 20,000. There's no way this is correct. It's if I just look at the gains from July to August, it's a lot. It's so I don't believe Robinhood, but I'm in the similar boat with you guys that are in the 30s and 20s. All the gains from 8 months gone. And look, for the people that feel really bad about all their gains of 8 months being gone, this is the mindset. Hopefully that helps to try to understand this. If you did not sell the gains, you have to ask yourself why. This is really important to understand, and then we'll get into some of the other headlines. If you did not sell when you were up 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000, 100,000, 200,000 after 8 months of gains, why? And if the answer is because you're in it for a longer term, because you got Palantir at 7, it went to 21, you're up 300%, but you don't care about being up 300%. You care about being up, 800% when Palantir is at $50, then you have to remember that, because it is such a psychologically horrible mindset to be like, oh, I should have sold. It's like, yes, sure, you could have sold, but the question is, why didn't you? And I doubt it's because you're necessarily greedy. It's more so because, hey, I don't need this money. I'm not trading this money in and out over the next couple of days. I don't need to see this money for the next couple of years, so I'll wait. And over the next couple of years, when the Fed drops interest rates and things get better, it's not going to matter that you were down or all your 8 months of gains disappeared, because it will come back. That's just how things are. So I really hope it doesn't psychologically mess up a lot of people, because if you didn't sell, you're in it for a longer term. And if you're in it for a longer term, if it's not a trade, then let it play out. Let the long-term thesis ultimately do what it has to do. Down 84,000 this month, down 15,000, 14,000 this week, down 21,000. What else do we have? Imnop says I'm in it for the long haul. Up today because I bought a ton of Hawaiian Electric yesterday. Yeah, the stuff in Hawaii is also crazy. There's definitely opportunities there. I haven't even gone that deep into it because I've been busy this week, but I got to learn a lot more about what's happening there. Palantir turns positive. I'm down 5% this week, 15% for the month. Okay, let's get back into the charts, and then I want to go through a couple of headlines. What's happening in China is very interesting as well. Look at that. Robinhood's 10.10. I didn't even get to buy because I'm doing the market open. I had some money ready. Palantir's 14, SoFi's 8, Robinhood's 10. Oh, I didn't even get to share Arnie's tweet. Okay, real quick. Let me share Arnie's tweet real quick on Robinhood, then we'll talk about China. The China situation is very interesting. So Robinhood at $10 or below 10, this is a great tweet from Arnie, means you're getting $3 billion for the trading platform. It would be a market cap of $9 billion and $6 billion in cash. E-Trade was bought for $13 billion by Morgan Stanley. TD Ameritrade was bought for $26 billion by Charles Schwab. So think about that. Robinhood under $10 at a $9 billion market cap, at $10, means you're getting $6 billion in cash. That's what you're buying. $3 billion for a trading platform with 11 million monthly active users. That is GAAP profitable. And historically, if you look at these buyouts, some of the best platforms in the world, like TD Ameritrade and E-Trade, they were bought out for even higher than $10 billion. So to me, I agree with Arnie. Hood is outrageously cheap, or the biggest financial companies are done with M&A, or both. So I think Robinhood is definitely something to look into at this valuation. At this valuation, it gets absolutely stupid. I bought my options when Robinhood was at $9.05. If it gets back to that level, I'm going to double the option stake I have in Robinhood, because over the next year, when the Fed drops interest rates and stocks go higher and the trading platform increases, their net interest revenues go up, and their ability to generate all that sweet, basically either interest revenue or customer acquisition from the cash they have on balance sheets, it's going to be phenomenal. And so those are the opportunities. Now, look, this is the mindset of an investor, right? The thesis I just laid out for Robinhood, that is where I see my maturity has happened over the past couple of years, because I can now confidently say, okay, if Robinhood goes back down to this level, I am doubling my position, and I'm very confident in doubling my position. Could it all fail? Could my thesis be full of shit? Sure, but a lot of things have to happen for that thesis to break, because I think I understand valuation. When you're paying $3 billion for a platform that's growing and profitable and $6 billion in cash, I think I have a sound thesis around valuation. And then you add all the qualitative stuff about Robinhood being a good platform, UK expansion, the credit card stuff, all that stuff. But 2 years ago, I would not be able to make that decision, which means I would not be able to double down, which means I would not be able to get asymmetrical returns, which means I would not be able to one day achieve financial freedom, which is the whole goal of actually having an investment mindset. So as bad as the red hurts, it's incredibly important to remember most of your friends don't know what a stock is. They don't know when it's time to double down. They have no idea how to understand valuations. You do. And you have to deal with the price of knowing what it means to invest is being down sometimes. And I think that's the mindset to have during some of these turbulent times. Okay, let's get into some of the other charts as well. So Robinhood's up a little bit. UiPath is still down. Nvidia 424. Palantir now above $14. Sofi at $8. Let's check in on Baba. So some of the stuff happening on China is really interesting. Evergrande, which is one of their largest. Oh wow, Alibaba's down 4%. One of their largest retail. I guess, what do you call them? Not retail, real estate companies. They manufacture a crap ton of apartment buildings, commercial real estate, etc. They filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy in the United States because they had certain subsidiaries that were in the United States. Why is this bad for China? China's economy, for a variety of reasons, is slowing down. And the biggest reason, just to sum it up in a TLDR, is that after the pandemic, they took 3 years to open up. They opened up like 5 months ago. And you can't suppress an economy. You can't suppress entrepreneurship and capitalism for 3 years and then expect in a couple months it goes back to normal. That's just not going to happen. And so as a result of the culture that's in China around entrepreneurship and also their pure suppression of it, China's economy is struggling. Why does this affect all of our stocks? Because if their economy is struggling, any of our supply chains that are held up in China get affected. Even Palantir gets affected because Palantir works with companies that have supply chains in China. So maybe Palantir is affected on the upside because it's able to help those companies optimize their supply chains when China goes to shit. But so far, exports are down 24% in the month of July from China to the United States. That's not really good. NASDAQ now at 13,187. And so that will affect U.S. companies. The question is, long-term, I think it's going to be good for U.S. companies because we're going to diversify into other countries. But in the short term, it's definitely not good for China. On the question of the Fed, that hopefully indicates that the Fed is more likely to either keep rates where they are or cut rates soon enough, because you can't have commodities being down 20% and expect deflation to not happen in transport from China to the United States. We're already seeing disinflation happen in China. So that should be overall bullish for the United States, but it's going to take some time for that to play out. Tesla at 215. Gary Black had a good thread last night on the price cuts. Look, at the end of the day, the price cuts are not the best for the short term earnings of Tesla. I think for the long term, it's fine. One of the arguments he had to push back against price cuts was advertising. And I would love for anyone in the chat to kind of give their perspective on this. If advertising, Tesla puts up $1 billion of advertising and they can keep their margins, is that a worthwhile return, or is advertising BS in the context of Tesla and you have to cut prices because advertisements are not going to educate consumers enough to be able to pick, Xpeng over Tesla or BYD over Tesla? I think that's a really, really interesting thing to think about. And Gary Black had an interesting analysis there for why, look, if they do advertising, they don't have to cut prices. And it's like, it kind of made some sense. I just don't know if advertising is enough to be competitive in this type of market. Speaking of Tesla, also very interesting to understand, Xpeng reported their Q2 earnings. Their share has dropped 7% after the Chinese electric car maker posts a record quarterly loss. And this is why Tesla is Tesla. Tesla's not losing money. Tesla's profitable, and they can continue to cut prices and remain profitable. So even if you agree that they should be advertising more, they are not the Chinese manufacturers. They can compete with the Chinese manufacturers in a much better way, whereas the Chinese manufacturers can't. So they had a net loss of 2.8 billion yuan, a revenue of 5.6 billion Chinese yuan, which is about 693 million. So they lost half of what they made in revenue in terms of net income. That's not good. Look at this. Their gross margin turned negative 3.9% compared with a positive 10.9%. So in 2022, Xpeng's margins were 11% positive. Tesla's was about, 18, 20, 22. Now it's negative 4%. Tesla's at 14. And that shows you the pricing power of what Tesla can really do. And again, if you believe in an FSD, then it doesn't even matter if they sell them for a loss because they're going to be able to make up that margin on the long-term software. So this is what leads me to believe that Elon's making the right decision here. And I don't think they need to go heavy on advertising, because when you see other Chinese manufacturers not be able to even put up a profit, it lets you know that Elon's probably in the right space right now. Inbound says advertising will make a difference when you explain the value proposition. iBot says advertising will look like they are getting desperate. Martin says advertising is only BS in Elon's mind. The average American doesn't even know about the 7,500 IRA tax credit. This is actually a really good point. Look, I agree with Martin on this. The average American, I mean, think about us, right? We're all in our own financial world or financial ecosystem. We care about interest rates and T-bills and all this shit. And we know who Jerome Powell is. Like, text 5 of your friends. Do you know who Jerome Powell is? So if they don't know about Jerome Powell, right, which is the most, like, he's like the Hulk Hogan of finance, right? Kathy Wood, like, these are people that you should know if you're in this world. How would you expect them to know about a specific IRA tax credit for an electric vehicle? Like, it's you know about these things when you're a little bit more financially savvy, and most Americans don't have $500 in their savings account, unfortunately. So I do agree that the average American knows very little about EVs, tax credits, etc. The question becomes, will advertising fundamentally make a difference in educating them that will lead to sales? And I think the execution of that advertising is interesting. Maybe Super Bowl commercials, that would that help, right? Maybe, I don't know, TV commercials for the average Midwestern American that's not on Twitter all day. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily going to make a difference at the end of the day. And so, but it is an interesting proposition. Saskia Rose says, Amit, is Hood 6 build their own cash, or all those assets they manage from user accounts? Makes a big difference. It is their own cash. So they have what you're talking about, Saskia, is assets under custody. They have $94 billion under custody. That actually grew 6% month over month in July. That's their users' cash. The $6 billion is their own shit. And so that's why, like, when you're buying Robinhood, you're buying a company. If it's at $6 billion market cap, you are buying cash. Like, if the company liquidated, they would have to liquidate they would have cash left, right? So that's why it's so exciting at that valuation. But the actual assets under custody are inching towards $100 billion, which is from their users. Amit, are you buying more TFC spreads? So let me check the price on them right now. I put in an order yesterday. Here's the thing. I put in a lot of orders yesterday. Yeah, see, it came right back up. I cannot tell you guys how many fucking orders I put in on options yesterday. None of them filled. None of them. I don't know if it was being Robinhood or if it was the market. In fact, I'll do one live in front of you guys. I don't know if it was the market or if it was Robinhood being stupid, but for some reason, my orders weren't filling. And I kind of feel like the prices were fake on a lot of these spreads. The prices that I wanted, they were all fake. And so this happens with options pricing sometimes. Sometimes it's like, it's a fake price that just shows up because it's so volatile. So I'll put in an order for XYZ limit price, and 2 hours later, I should be able to fill in the order because it's at their price, and then it would just go away and it would go back up like 7 cents. And so I guess I was never going to get the order because actually the price of the option was way higher than what I bid for, even though it was showing me that I should be able to logically bid for some of these prices. So let's do that right now. I will do that right now in front of you guys and see if we can get them to fill. The market was bugging this week. Yeah, it was being really weird. So here are my SoFi $10, $15 calls. I have 262 debit spreads on these. Do you guys see this right here? Do you see the number? Okay, I don't know if it shows you the number, but whatever. So these are my SoFi $10, $15 calls. They're 96 cents. I got them at an average. There it is. So 262. I got them at an average of 69 cents. Now, you can do the math. This was worth $1.80 on their earnings. I have 262 of them. So you can do the math. I was up quite a bit of money. So what I'm going to do right now it's 96 cents, 95 cents. Last time I got to buy was 89 cents back in like June. I'm going to put in an order for 2 of them at 0.95. That's the price it wants right now. Review order, submit. Okay, so you see how it says SoFi call debit spread placed? That means it hasn't been filled. And so the bid ask is 88 cents versus $1.01. So what I want is 95 cents. I want it right in the middle. I'm definitely not going to get 88 cents. $1.01 I don't want to pay when it's 95 cents. Now, if SoFi gets down to like 93 cents, maybe it'll execute. Oh, it filled. There we go. It filled. So you see how it went to 94? in their internal systems, that's what allowed it to kind of fill at 95 cents. Sometimes you have to have the limit like 5 cents above what the actual price is, at least on Robinhood, and then it fills, which is okay. But allows it to kind of to go from there. And so that's what we were able to do. So yeah, sometimes it depends on how it fills, and then how, oh shit, I closed them. Oh crap. Oh my God, no, I didn't want to do that. Damn it. Now I got to pay taxes. I closed them. Shit. Okay, now I got to buy 4 more. Why was it on close versus, oh, it was on close versus open. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do 4 at 0.93. Wow, no one wanted to tell me in the chat. No one. Everyone wanted to just let me sell. No one wanted to call my phone or anything. Everyone just wanted to let that happen. All right, so here we go. We're going to order 4 of them for 93 cents. Review order. Submit. Now I got to pay taxes on that shit. Okay, so they are placed. Let's see if they fill. Damn it. I don't want to sell those, bro. I had a great average. Goodness. That's why it filled. See, that's why it filled. It'll let you sell. It's because there are buyers, but it won't let you fill at the prices you want. Either it's a Robinhood thing or it's just the market in general being stupid like that. So there we go. I did that shit last week. Bro, I hate when that happens. I'm crying, laughing over here. Real content. Oh my goodness, bro. And we follow this guy. I had such a good average. I had 69 cents, for goodness sakes. How much better of an average can you get? Fucking goodness gracious. Now, okay, so let's do the math on that, right? Let's just be transparent here. Let's assume I have 262 instead of 260. So 262 spreads. I bought them for 69 cents each, which means $69. You multiply that, I spent $18,000 on those spreads. SoFi at $15 means the cost of those, the value of those spreads will be worth $5 a spread, 100 shares in a contract. 5 times 100 is $500. So 262 times 500, that will be $131,000. Hopefully by January 2024. 131 divided by 18,000 is a 7x return on these options. That's why I didn't want to sell for so long. Everyone was like, sell. I'm like, no, bro. Like, I think SoFi will be 15 fucking bucks by January 2025, and I'm going to make some fucking money, okay? I'm making my 7x. I am going for the big leagues on this one. I'm young enough. I want to let this happen. Could SoFi go to shit and I lose 18 grand? Sure. But I don't think SoFi is going to shit in the next 2 years. Like that's just how I personally feel. So it's like, that's a one I want to take. So on the day of earnings, when it was worth $1.81, I had this much, 47,422 minus the 18,000 I paid. I was up 30 grand. Now, even if I had sold and I had pocketed 30 grand, I would still not be able to get a better average that I have right now at 69 cents. And so that's why, and so here, I think this is actually a really interesting thing in the context of like long-term mindset. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. So if I had sold, and I think this is relevant because everyone's like, oh, what if I had sold at the top? What if I got my gains on July 31st, whatever? If I had sold and I had pocketed $30,000, not only would I have to pay short-term capital gains, so that's 30,000 times 0.20. So I have to give 6,000 to Uncle Sam, right? You get 6,000. So already you got some of that you have to deal with. That's irrelevant. It's not that big of a deal, but that is something to take into consideration on taxes. And then on top of that, now, if I truly believe SoFi is 15 bucks by January 2025, which is, as you saw in the numbers, a 724% return off of my 18,000 because I bought when it was $5 I would have to wait for SoFi to get back to that level, or similarly, I would have to wait for the options chain to get really screwy to get that price in order to be able to buy it again. And so that's why I'm just like, if you have a long-term mindset, if you have a Palantir average at 7, yeah, you could have got your 285% return at 20 bucks. But if you think Palantir is going to be 50 in a couple of years and you don't need a 300% return right now, you can take some off the top. Sure, that's fine. But if you don't need the money, let that motherfucker ride. Let it ride. Let it go into the sunset and eventually capture your gains when it's time to capture your gains. And so same mentality for me. Now, I took my sister's initial capital out because I know a lot of people know that I invest in. So I bought her some debit spreads as well. They're not as risky. They're $7, $12. So SoFi just has to be $12 by January 2025 versus 15. So mines are a bit riskier. So I took out her initial 12,000 and I was able to give that back to her. But even her spreads, SoFi has to drop back to that $5, $6 range for me to get the average I was able to get. And so I can't time the market. I don't know if SoFi is going to get back to $5, $6 and for me to be able to get that type of return or to get that type of price that I got. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong about it. Maybe it does. But As of now, you know, at $8.13, I would have to hope for a pretty big decline to get those prices where I got them. Or I could just shut the hell up, realize I got in super early, and coming from some, oh wow, look at Robinhood at $10.30. So Robinhood had a nice rebound today. Coming from someone who has not been early on most stocks, aka Palantir, to actually get in early, I kind of just want to be early. You know how they say, you know, be early, never late? I was early. And actually, ironically, I wasn't early with Chamath on SoFi. I was early with the options in the May decline when that David dude from Wedbush downgraded them to 250. And so to get an average, and so the moral of the story is if you have a good average, yes, you could have captured gains, but then you have to deal with doing something with that money because you have to allocate it again because unless you're sitting on cash and letting it die with inflation, you want to keep it in some type of asset. And maybe you can put it in the money market funds and get 4%, or T-bills get 4%, or you could keep your beautiful average and let the narrative play out. Let the company do what it needs to do if you've done the due diligence on it, and then make some real fucking money in a couple of years. And so that's what I think, you know, the idea should be over the past, over this next kind of little bear market time that we're getting. And so that's pretty much it. Josh says, I can't time the market, but I'm buying $20,000 worth of options. This would be funny if these options were weekly. I mean, this comment is just, Josh, quite frankly, this comment is not good because if the options are 2 years out, a year and a half out, you have a lot of time for things to play. I mean, like at the end of the day, I don't think everyone needs to hold a stock for 10 years. I think you need to have a long-term horizon. Weekly and monthly is not a long-term horizon, but 2 years in the stock market is decently long if you're doing an option at least. And I would say 4 to 5 years if you're holding an individual equity. So, I mean, if you're trying to be funny on this comment, I don't necessarily see the humor on that one. Gail says it's a matter of getting your gains and using it in better trades rather than waiting longer and probably getting back to back even. Yeah, Gail, I agree. This comes down to the certain trade then, right? Do I think there is a better opportunity than SoFi at 69 cents a contract that can eventually be worth $5 a contract that I could allocate that $18,000 to, or that $40,000 to with my gains? I don't know, right? And like in your head, you might be like, Amit, you're so stupid. There's tons of other opportunities. That comes down to an individualistic, qualitative element of being an investor, right? Because you, Gail, might know a ton of shit I don't know, and you're like, hey, there's all these opportunities. But at the end of the day, investing is an individual sport. I don't have time to like find every single opportunity. I just want to let it be there and move on. I also have other shit to do in the day, right? I'm not just staring at the market. So for me, if I found something that can go up 700% theoretically, let's say it goes up only 400% over the next year and a half, I am very okay with that. And I don't want to spend the time trying to figure out where to put the capital next and then take another risk and do a shit ton of due diligence just to come up with another thesis if I already have it on SoFi. And so that's why for me, I didn't sell. And I think it made a lot of sense at the end of the day to kind of keep it going from there. So that's it. How do you know the market won't tank in the next 12 months? You are totally timing the market. It might not. But these options expire more than 12 months from now, so you would still have time. And also, look, I can make some analysis on where I think the market's going. Now, in 2021, November at the top, $7 trillion of liquidity printed and a shit ton of stimulus and interest rates being at zero. It was very obvious it was the top. It's not that crazy to be like, you know, I should probably take some off the top. Now, where interest rates are normalizing and you're getting to a point outside of a black swan event that, yeah, no one can predict that. Everyone has to take that risk. But if you get interest rates lower, things are going to be better. Ross Gerber actually had a really good talk on Meet Kevin's stream yesterday. I highly recommend people watching Ross Gerber. I actually, you know, outside of his Palantir opinion, I really respect him. He's a hedge fund manager who manages $2 billion in capital. I mean, what he was saying from a macroeconomic perspective about how the Fed is going to have to work, and he was giving the bear and bull case, it's not that crazy to assume things are going to get decent over the next 12 months. It doesn't have to mean it's a crazy bull market, but it also doesn't mean we're going into fucking 3,400 on the S&P 500. Maybe it could happen. That's a risk all of us have to take. But at the end of the day, you know, we have to be able to take some level of risk to be able to get some level of return. And that's it. I don't respect Meet Kevin. Look, I like Meet Kevin. At the end of the day, I don't agree with everything, but he had a really good stream with Ross Gerber. I really recommend people checking it out because Ross is someone who understands the markets very well. I mean, he's been managing this for a long time. He's been giving clients a massive return. I don't like his opinion on Tesla, but Palantir, but I do respect his analysis at the end of the day. It was hard opening my account and seeing 85,000 less. Yeah, look, it's hard. But again, this is the price of being an investor. Either you get to say it's a blessing that I'm down 85,000, as crazy as that is, because you're actually in the game, or you're not. Like, think about LeBron James, bro. The dude's been to the finals 9 times and has lost 6 of them. people would say, oh, you're 3 for 9 in the finals, you suck. And in his mind, he's like, motherfucker, I got to the finals in 2007 when I was 25 years old. Like, yeah, I wasn't going to beat the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker and Greg Popovich, but I got there, right? And at some level, you have to be like, well, if I play this long enough, I'm going to be able to get my returns. Remember, if you're betting the economy is going to crash, you're betting against the United States of America, and over the long term, the United States of America doesn't lose. Also, I mean, just from a pure political perspective, next year is an election year. Biden's not letting the economy... Okay, so Ross Gerber was actually doing some really good political analysis. If the Republicans don't have an amazing candidate, and all Biden has to do is, he doesn't have to give a speech. He just has to make sure the economy doesn't tank. He's not letting the fucking economy tank on a re-election year. And so this is where politics interplays with the macro, and I don't want to get super political, but if the Republicans can't get a really good candidate and Biden has to do nothing other than make sure the economy is decent, we're likely not going to see an election year crash. If we were, it would be going against historical trends as well. So it's something to take into account when you're thinking of all this different stuff that's going on. But in the end, it's gambling with odds stacked in your favor. That is one of the best comments I've seen today. In the end, the stock market is absolutely gambling. You're taking a risk, but it's with the odds stacked in your favor if you've done some due diligence. At the end of the day, everything's a gamble. The question is simply, do you have the ability to stack some of those cards in your favor? Let's take a look at Stephanie Hightower talking about long duration assets have the wind against their back long terms, and she gets into some tech analysis here as well.
Now in the markets, Stephanie Link, Chief Investment Strategist at Hightower and a CNBC contributor. Stephanie, great.
Friday, and the stock was weak post Fortinet. I think both names are a buy. The total addressable market is something like $280 billion between now and 2026. That's a 16% CAGR. That's number one. Number two, these companies are growing top line double digits. Margins are expanding. And so if there's just a pocket of weakness because of enterprise softness, which we all know about, I think you want to take a look.
So I guess that gets the bigger issue here, Steph, and that is at what point, even companies that are growing but have high valuations, at what point do higher rates get them? And should that factor in at this point in time?
Absolutely. Higher rates for longer, certainly it's going to hurt long duration assets. That's technology, that's growth stocks in general. But I do think that the long term, I kind of look at the total addressable markets. I think it's really important because long term, they do have the wind at their backs. And so you want to be patient. You certainly do not have to chase anything in terms of on the upside. And that's why you want to look for opportunities. Personally, I own, by the way, Fortinet, and when it was down 25% on the day, it hurt, but I was buying and I continue to buy because, again, long-term, I like the story very much.
Now, what she says there is so important. Fortinet, for those that don't know, is another tech stock. A lot of people don't talk about it. She said when it was down 25% on the day, she continued to buy because nothing in the earnings changed her long-term perspective on the thesis. Margins are expanding. Enterprise spend may be a little slow right now, and that's due to interest rate, but the company itself is internally building new products and services that are growing. And that's the same thing I'm seeing with a lot of these stocks that are down, and a lot of them deserve to be down a little bit because the valuations got really high, like Meta at $320. And so if that's the case, you're buying. And these are people that I respect a little bit more because they've been in the game for so long, and when things go down, they fucking buy. Like, you don't get rich when things are down and you sell and, you're looking at all the red and you're getting, you have to be like a fucking wolf. Like, where can I, where do you smell the blood and where can you attack and how can you double, triple your position to be able to really get outsized returns over the long term? I mean, I think that's how a lot of real wealth is built, whether it's real estate, stocks, or whatever it may be. It's done when people are scared at the end of the day. Josh says George Bush let the market crash at the end of his presidency. Again, Josh, you don't have the best takes today, bro. There was an entire financial crisis with subprime mortgages happening for 3 years from 2005 to 2007 before we got the 2008 great financial crisis. Is anything like that happening right now? Someone tell me. Someone tell me if a stripper has 17 different mortgages. Because if that's happening, I'm willing to listen. But to just throw out this random, 2008 was bad. And so 2020, where is this coming from? Where is these random accusations? This is not serious stuff. You can't just claim bad things happen, therefore bad things will happen again. If you have some proof, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to entertain it. If not, it's like, if it's not, you sound like Michael Burry that's just saying things are going to crash, things are going to crash. And it's like, that's just not the right mindset on a red day. On a red day, it should be, where are the opportunities? Robinhood, honestly, it's green right now. I had money. I had limit orders ready for Robinhood at 950 and 970. I was ready because I want it lower. And like, I just think that's the mindset you have to have on some of these red days. And you're never going to be able to always time the bottom. But Robinhood's a company I really like. I've been talking about it for a long time. I've been using the goddamn product for like 7 years now. I want that stock. And so if I can get it at a better price, I want it at a better price. Tesla at 216, Bank of America down 29.23, Truist $28.69. Someone asked me about the Truist option spreads. I put in an order yesterday and it didn't get filled because it went back up so quickly. So I do have orders to get more of these spreads. I don't think anything's wrong with Truist. Their commercial real estate is the lowest out of most of the regional banks. I think they're going to be fine. The only reason they tanked on earnings is because they were being very risk off versus risk on in terms of their loan book, which I understand because interest rates are high. As soon as interest rates get cut and the Fed can do it like that, then a lot of these stocks are going to be fine, but it just takes a little while for them to get there. So if those orders fill, then I'll be having more of those. PayPal at 58. I do have options on PayPal. This is the one where, quite frankly, my options are underwater on this. I mean, I bought this at 72, and at the time I was up on it, it's at 58, down a decent amount of the options. I don't have a ton of money in PayPal. It's like below 10,000. But look, I agree the PayPal narrative is stupid. This is definitely going to play out, and I believe over the next year and a half, PayPal will be fine. The increased competition argument to me is silly. Like, yes, it's real in the fintech space. At these valuations with another $1.9 billion they can do in buybacks, increased competition to me is not the argument to go against PayPal. It's an argument. It's just not the best argument, especially when they have 431 million active users. And Braintree, which is their unbranded checkout solutions, is growing 30% year over year, even if the core business is only growing 7%. So I think PayPal is going to be fine. And look, when most people get bearish on a stock, that's when you want to really look at it a little bit more, in my opinion, to understand it better. Let me actually pull up a little thread on PayPal by someone on Twitter. I hope those SoFi spreads fill. No one wanted to tell me in the chat when I was selling my precious 69-cent average spreads. No one wanted to tell me, hey, Amit, you're closing. You're not opening those. The entire chat, I like, you guys mean so much to me. No one wanted to tell me that. And now I have to buy them at 93 cents. So hopefully they fill. They still haven't filled. This is the problem with Robinhood. Like they'll let you sell, but when it's time to fill, it's a little bit more competitive. Okay, here's a quick little thread on PayPal for those that are interested. If you don't have a position, this is also something to try to look into it. What if X replaces PP? I think so. Felicia, this could happen. The problem is Elon is so slow on product updates that really are transformative. I mean, if you just look at Tesla with FSD, Cybertruck, etc., for X to become a global payments platform where people trust it to be able to send payments and do virtual currencies and all that stuff, it's going to take some time. And so could it replace PayPal? Maybe. Will it happen soon? No. It's going to take some time. Astricus says for the content. Yep, it was for the content. Of course, it was for the content. Okay, so here's the thread. This is by Gergovan. It's a decent account on Twitter. Here you go. Okay, so let's do it real quickly. So we're going to run through it super quick. Valuation, PayPal is now trading at 11.6 times this year's and 10 times next year's earnings, the cheapest in its history. So if you wanted PayPal cheap, this is the cheapest you're probably going to get it. Maybe could it go lower? Yes, but from a pure valuation perspective, it's cheap. Braintree, a lot of people don't use PayPal. Most of them use it, but they don't know that. Braintree is PayPal's unbranded merchant business. It's used by Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, GameTime, GitHub, Skyhanner, Priceline, and thousands of more companies. I didn't even know Braintree was used by that many companies, and that's something that is kind of the Trojan horse, I believe, of PayPal in terms of being able to accelerate their growth. Last quarter, PayPal's legacy business grew only 6%. Braintree grew 30%. So if you're talking about, there's no growth because there's competition from Adyen and Stripe and all these guys, 30% year-over-year growth is not bad to me. I mean, it's a lot better than a lot of these other fintechs. PayPal continues to add large businesses to Braintree. This quarter it was Booking.com, the owner of Priceline, Opendoor, etc. Last quarter was Microsoft. In my opinion, most of PayPal's future growth will come from its unbranded unit. And again, it just has to get back to a mean of around $100. It doesn't need to go back to 2021 highs of 300 for this to be a very easy double from here. Free cash flow. For some reason, I've seen hundreds of tweets about PayPal's having negative free cash flow and how it's down 75%. That's not really true. Last quarter, it sold 43 billion of buy now, pay later loans to KKR, and that had a 1.2 billion impact on its free cash flow. This transaction will close in the next quarter. This is similar to Robinhood took a $570 million loss last quarter, and people are like, how can you be excited about Robinhood? They're losing $600 million, and it's like 540 of that $570 million loss was due to a one-time founder cancellation charge for stock-based compensation. So this is stuff people don't really look at, and then it forms this negative narratives, but it doesn't really make sense when you look under the hood. In reality, PayPal reiterated its full-year free cash flow guidance of $5 billion and is on track to hit an all-time new high. They will do full-year free cash flow of $5 billion, and they will buy back 5 billion shares. So, $5 billion worth of shares. So when you look at that perspective, and then you got the buybacks here, PayPal will buy back $5 billion. Over the last 18 months, PayPal has bought back almost 7% of the company, and they've got another $1.9 billion to be able to do. I think PayPal is going to be a good situation. And look, here, the negative sentiment is also really important. The last thing he says is that do not mix your personal sentiments about a company with the fundamentals of its business. When everyone is bearish on a name, it's usually the best time to buy. People think people are bullish on PayPal. Most people are bearish. Most people are saying it's dead. No one uses it, and the competition is taking over. And when that happens, I think it's a little bit more exciting versus a little bit more scary in the context of PayPal. Okay, Josh says, please tell me how Biden can prevent the market from crashing. Bush couldn't control 2008, right? How do you expect Biden to be able to? Josh, I don't even know why you think the market is supposed to crash. So this hypothetical crash you're talking about that is coming, what is Biden? What is he like? Bush couldn't stop subprime mortgage loans because he didn't even know that shit was happening. What exactly is happening in the background that is so bad, so derivative, in the context of derivative contracts, all this nonsense that's happening that Biden doesn't know about that he needs to be able to do? I mean, I'm asking for a reason you think there's some massive crash that's supposed to happen. If you're going to say the yield curves are inverted and therefore that's why there has to be a recession, okay. The question, the couple of responses. Number one, we've kind of had the recession in terms of negative GDP growth quarter over quarter. That's already happened if you remember in 2022, when the yield curve inverted, we had a theoretical recession. The difference is the economy is so strong, labor is so strong that Jerome Powell might go down in history as one of the best chairmen of the Fed of all time if he can actually toe the line and have a soft landing. And I think that is a greater probability than some massive, like, oh my goodness, everything's going to shit recession like 2008 because of a yield curve inversion. Like it just doesn't seem like that's the logic that was going to be able to happen. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying if something happens, he can't control it. Yeah, but that's just, anything can happen. I could die tomorrow. Like that's what I'm saying when you say like, oh, it's just all gambling. It's like, yeah, anything can happen. So if anything can happen, if that's your argument, of course, anything can happen. I don't have an argument against that. Sure, anything can happen. So anything can happen. The only people that say commercial real estate is a huge risk is the people that don't work in commercial real estate. Now, this is a good argument. Commercial real estate is something that is a very hot topic. I have to do even more research on this. Matt, I know you work in commercial real estate or you're in that area, so I don't even want to say it's a massive risk. All I know is that there are banks that have a ton of exposure to commercial real estate. Now, will that exposure be the downfall of those regional banks, which is then the downfall of the U.S. economy? Because that's like a logical link chain, at least that I could understand for a recession. Maybe, maybe not. I have to do more research into it. From what I've understood, it's not the worst thing in the world, given some of the hedges a lot of these banks have on their portfolio of loans when it comes to commercial real estate. But again, I got to go deeper into that. But that's one analysis for why the market could crash. But at least there's some logic in that versus just screaming that subprime mortgages are coming back and things are going to happen. And so, yeah, I mean, ultimately we have to see kind of where that goes from there. When and who will be the next guest on your stream? I have no idea. That Wall Street Journal reporter, a lot of you guys seem to enjoy her presence on the stream. Thank you guys for showing up yesterday for that. Honestly, the way that happened, bro, is I DM'd her. She didn't respond for like a month. And then she joined one of my Twitter spaces and I was like, yo, please respond to my DM. And then she responded. And then I didn't even think she was going to do it because she's so beyond this type of stuff, but she did it. And so that was pretty cool. Now, hopefully we can use that as leverage to get some other people. We had Dan Ives, we had Gunjan, Kathy Wood is next. No, I'm just kidding. But hopefully we can use her to get some other people onto the stream. I know we're going to have Keith on probably in September. Keith Fitzgerald. He's a big Palantir guy. He's on Fox Business a lot. So hopefully we'll be able to get him back in February. But now I got to up the ante on the guests. Now you guys want better guests. So I gotta keep it going. What's Kramer saying these days? Kramer's saying be patient. Honestly, Kramer has a good take. I was listening to Kramer last night. He's saying be patient. He's like, it's not that serious if you buy the dip on companies that you like. I agree with Kramer. Buy the dip on companies that you like. I mean, it's not that complicated. S&P at 434, Robinhood at 1013, NASDAQ 13,000. Where's Palantir? Palantir 1412. Look at that. So that $13 dip got bought up really quick. Now we could head back there again, but that $13 dip it lasted like 5 seconds. And that happened last time as well. It hit 1398 2 weeks ago. It got bought up very quickly. So we are going to see how far we can actually get it to go. Now, look, if the S&P goes to 420, I think Palantir goes to $11. And so I wouldn't go crazy buying the dip right now. I would DCA into it because I think there's some better opportunities and better prices that we're going to be able to get. But again, if you had a $7 average and you didn't sell at 20 and it's at $14, I really don't think this is the time to be so scared and sad and like, oh my goodness. It's like, bro, Palantir is one of the most innovative companies in the world. And if you don't believe me, let me share something that they tweeted yesterday that was also incredibly interesting. I know this live stream is going a little bit longer because it's Friday, but we're just going to go a little bit longer on this today. This is what they tweeted yesterday. This shit blew my mind, bro. This shit blew my mind. Look at this shit. To solve the world's hardest problems, we need the world's brightest and boldest. Applicant acceptance rates for Palantir. Harvard has a 3.4% acceptance rate. Stanford, 3.7%. Palantir is 0.7%. That is crazy, bro. To get into this company, you have to be the most elite of the elite of the elite. Like, the numbers don't lie. They reject way more. They reject 99.3% of people. They accept 0.7%. You have to go through 6-7 rounds of interviews to get your job there. So, this is the company you're investing in before you think so quickly of, oh, I should have just sold out when it was at $20. Like, if you have a really long-term perspective looking at this type of a company, this is not a big tech company yet. Oh, the camera went down. There's not a big tech company yet. One day it might be a big tech company, and these are the people that they're hiring in order to make it a big tech company. So that's pretty exciting as well. Amit, what do you think of Palantir's sales team? Honestly, I don't know enough about their sales teams. I know they've been having struggles over the past couple months. Hopefully they're figuring that out. If they have 400 clients using AIP, I'm assuming sales is going somewhat well. It's not horrible, but I think the sales team is something they definitely have to improve. There's a bunch of Palantir sales enterprise account executives that have added me on LinkedIn. I don't know why. I think they just added me just to add me, but a bunch of them I've been seeing have been checking out my LinkedIn content. So I imagine that, they know that the community exists. They know that there's a lot of hype around the product, and now they just got to be able to see if they can sell. Amit is applying just to see if he's a lead. A lot of people said, yo, you should apply. I'm not going to apply because if I apply, I cannot do YouTube anymore. First of all, I couldn't build my startup anymore. Second of all, I can't do YouTube because they would never let me talk publicly about the company if I'm inside the company. I don't even think the SEC would like that. So I probably never can work at Palantir. Also, look, quite frankly, enterprise sales is boring. I mean, there's nothing exciting about enterprise sales, bro. Like, talking to 576 people and accidentally closing my option spreads that I had at 69 cents on Sofi, and none of you 576 people helping me. That's way more exciting to start my day versus cold calling every company in America saying, hey, do you want to buy Palantir's product? Now, would I sell the fuck out of it? Yes, I would be selling AIP like I have water in the desert. They would have to hire 1,000 more engineers to program code the way I would be clearing the shelf of that damn product, okay? I would single-handedly get them another $2 billion in revenue. That's what I would do. But do I want to waste my talents on selling enterprise software? No, that's fucking boring. Like, I'd rather do some other stuff. So I would do some other things. Amit would be a great management consultant for Palantir. End-to-end sales is implementation. Look, I have a lot of friends who went into management consulting. It's such a boring life. I can't even explain. Like, the salary, the bonus, it's not worth it, bro. You're making PowerPoints all day. You're stuck in an office, and you're going to happy hour at 5 p.m. with your coworker. Like, it's just not. There is no sacrifice. There's no pain. There's no adversity. There's no excitement. There's no oomph. There's nothing real about that type of a job. And so that's one of the things I never wanted to do, is become a management consultant. Now, one day, if everything fails, would that be a career I could go into because it would fit my skill sets because it's all about communication and stuff? Yes, but I'm trying my hardest to not become a management consultant because that would be so fucking boring. Now he's just playing hard to get. Look, in my experience, playing hard to get works, bro. Playing hard to get works. You got to be nice in the beginning, and then you got to play hard to get, and then they all come running because then they're like, oh, he has options. That's how it works. Okay, the market stream is over. I'm gonna do another like 10-15 minutes of Q&A just because it's Friday and I want to be there. So if you want to leave, that's totally fine. If you want to stay for the Q&A, then you can stay. I did this on Twitter yesterday. I actually tweeted. I said, ask me anything, life, YouTube, anything, because I've been getting a lot of DMs on like random stuff, and I actually have been responding to a bunch of them. So if anyone has any questions on anything, you can ask them right now. If you want to leave, thank you for joining the Market Open. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you get some fun, get some air, touch some grass, go get a nice dinner with your family and your friends, get laid if that's in the cards for you. If not, have a great day. Thank you for joining. Audia update. Audia is going well. I mean, look, our biggest problem right now, and I talked about this on Twitter yesterday, is user growth and marketing. Now, we have a plan to be able to I believe, explode our marketing and our acquisition opportunities that we're implementing right now. If you're an investor, you get an update every month, so you already know about those plans because you watch the YouTube video updates that I give. The hardest part for Aldea was raising money, and I figured that part out. Now the hardest part is getting to the next level, which is the seed round, which requires a whole different level of tasks and execution. And I'm not going to lie, it's the most difficult thing in the world, but I, have all the conviction in the world, and so I tried that every single day. We did re-update our algorithm over the past 2 weeks, and I think we've replicated our algorithm in such a way that is actually really good. I've been playing with it every single day. So if you want to register, aldea.io/register, you pick a couple categories to get started. And then as you start listening to a couple different Aldeas, you're going to notice the recommendation algorithms start to get better because we've implemented, we basically rewrote the whole thing over the past couple of weeks. And that's been our main focus, to make sure that when we do get the traffic, the algorithm's good enough to be able to recommend the right content. And so I'm not saying the algorithm's perfect, but I am saying that we're using a lot of more metadata and keywords to be able to recommend it. So nothing AI oriented, but it's a sister of AI without having to use anything GPT oriented, because we're so small, you can kind of code this stuff up on your own. And so hopefully, it gets better over the time. Does your mom use Aldea? Yeah, she actually texted me yesterday because she's getting all of her friends on it. So she texts me all the time and I send her links. Amit, when are you going to advertise Aldea? Nobody has heard of it. So this is one thing on Twitter and YouTube. Mentioning your startup has a residual impact on the startup's growth. And so this is something, a lot of people have asked about this. I've talked about Aldea on Twitter and YouTube plenty of times for a year. The growth isn't really there. We're targeting other platforms for growth. And I will talk about how those strategies are going over the next couple months as we implement them. But when you're doing growth, like if this YouTube channel was all about my startup, then it would be different. People don't watch this YouTube channel for my startup. They watch it for Palantir updates. Quite frankly, that's what it is. And so you've got to recognize that and be humble enough as a creator. If I spammed YouTube and Twitter with a bunch of tweets about my own startup, no one would care. And the growth of the account would actually be worse because no one would give a shit because you're not offering them value. And so you have to be very poignant, if that's a word, poignant, Poignat. I don't know how to say the word, but you have to be very acute on how you're constructing a brand. There are pockets and moments where you can slide in discussions of your own personal life. Like if I tweet what I had for breakfast today, or for example, I tweeted that I was at the gym. That's important that I'm at the gym. That's cool. But that's not going to grow my Twitter account. That's for the existing followers to build more community and get impressions of people that actually care about me going to the gym. And have a funny little caption. Cool, that's cool. But that's not going to get you a new audience. And so when you're constantly talking about shit that you care about, like my own startup that has zero value to other people, no one's going to care. And so my goal with building a brand on Twitter and YouTube is not to acquire users for Aldea. It's to acquire more attention. Because how did I raise money for my startup? I had attention. And so there's really no doubt in my mind, if Aldea has 15,000 daily active users tomorrow, I would be able to raise another couple $100,000 from the audience that I've built, because these are serious people that have serious amounts of disposable capital that just need to see growth in order to allocate that capital into more asymmetrical plays, which is how I got funding in the first place. But I don't have that level of growth yet on the startup. So if that startup can get that level of growth, I believe that the attention I'm amalgamating, given it's so investor, stock market, investing, overall money-minded focused, I will be able to raise more money if I need to. I want to go the institutional route, but let's say our servers are at a capacity and our AWS credits are running low and we need $100,000 tomorrow. How do you get $100,000 tomorrow? You have to have people that are willing to invest $100,000 in you because they see the potential. And so that's what my goal is with content creation, is acquire audience. Obviously, I also love doing content in general, build the brand of Amit. And eventually, as the startup takes off, that brand is going to be, priceless to the startup overall. And so that's kind of the goal there. Word of the day, amalgamated. Amalgamate is a really good word. It's an SAT word. It means combine. I learned it 7 years ago. There are certain words I learned 7 years ago, and now I just say them all the time, and I keep going from there. Okay, what other questions do we have? Is Finance Junkies on Aldea? Yes, it is. If you search Finance Junkies, it's there. So if you search it, it will be there. Do a video once a week or once a month on Aldea updates. I do that for the investors. If you guys want it on the channel, I can do it on the channel publicly. I don't really care about keeping it private for investors. So if you guys want it, I can do it once a month. Once a week is probably a little too much, but once a month, if you guys are interested, then yeah, I'll post it on the channel. Amit and Elon don't like advertising. Why have you not worked with Jackson? This is an interesting question. I think the question should be more about why hasn't Jackson worked with me? I mean, look, I've invited him to be on the show many times. It's up to him to join the podcast. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, I like Jackson a lot. He's an awesome content creator. He's great for Palantir. I've invited him to be on the podcast many times. Yeah, there's an open invitation. At the end of the day, it's up to him. Look, I have not ever said I will never work with a certain Palantir content creator. I mean, you guys see the Palantir Weekly. There's a new guest every time. There's anyone who wants to talk. Amir, he did a podcast with Tom the other day. Amir, he reached out and we did a podcast immediately because I was like, I don't care who you are. If you can offer some value, I'd love to talk to you about Palantir. So it's up to him. If he wants to collaborate, then we'll collaborate. If not, then not. Do finance junkies get stock compensation? Look, I think finance junkies can be $1 million brand one day. I really do. I think it can. We are very small in that journey. We have to do a lot of work to get there, but I think it can get there. We just have to be diligent and focused. I think the one thing we have over other people is chemistry and consistency. We got the 2 C's. And so if we can keep our chemistry and consistency up, we're going to win long term. But like, I think we could do an in-house studio finance junkies that we could, like, it doesn't even have to be virtual one day. It's like 5-6 years from now, but we got to keep growing it. And so we'll see what it can do. And then at that point, yes, everyone will have stock-based compensation in finance junkies, but we got to get there. How did you come up with Aldia's logo? This is actually a really, really interesting question. So, for those that don't know, I got the idea for Aldia around July of 2020 during the pandemic. And so I couldn't sleep because I was so obsessed with the idea that I was like, okay, what do I do with this? So I reached out to a business school professor. I just graduated Rutgers Business School, and I wanted to send him my pitch deck, my shitty pitch deck for Aldia. Now, I didn't have a name for the company. All I knew was like, this is going to be the next biggest place where people can get algorithmic discovery when it comes to audio, because Spotify fucking sucks at it. They're owned by the record label. Like, I had all these ideas flowing in my mind. So I put them on the pitch deck and I was like, all right, I'm going to send it to him. And then I had to send it. And I was like, well, what's the name of this thing? And so my sister came into my room and I was like, yo, what do I name it? And she was like, name it Speak Easy. And I was like, leave my fucking room right now. Leave my fucking room. I was like, and close the door on your way out. So I didn't go with Speak Easy. And then she came back in and she's like, oh, I have it. I was like, what? She's like, Easy Talk. I was like, leave my fucking room right now. Close the door. Leave the fucking room. Don't come back. Close the room. Leave. And so I sat there and I thought for literally an hour. I'm looking at this pitch deck and I'm like, what the fuck is the name of this company, bro? Like, I'm just like, I need to, like, how is my business school professor going to take me seriously if I'm like, hey, here's a startup I'm working on. Please look at it. And then he opens the presentation. It's called startup.ppt. It's like, that's for PowerPoint. It's like, no, it's not going to. So I was like, all right, it's about ideas and it's all audio oriented. And I stared at those two together and like I was in Star Wars or something. I was just looking at these words and I was like trying to combine them together. And I was like, it's audio, it's ideas and audio. It's all Audia. And I was just like, that name sucks, but it's better than nothing. Boom, Audia, Audea. And then I sent it, and then the business school professor never responds. None of them. I sent it like 10 of them. None of them ever responded. So no feedback from them. But then I started talking to users. People don't know, I have spoken to over 1,000 people from 2020 to 2022 on Zoom. Cold emailed 60,000 podcasters. I have the receipts to prove this shit from like 17 different Gmail accounts. And I was gracious enough to get like FaceTimes and Zooms with like 500-600 of them. And I emailed, a couple other 400, and we just went back and forth in email. And I asked them, what do you think about the name? What do you think about the product? All that stuff. That's where I got product validation for a full year and a half. Every single person I talked to was like, holy shit, we would use this immediately. If you create this, it's going to be really fucking hard to compete with the big boys, but we would use this. And, I asked them really difficult questions from a creative perspective, consumer perspective. And that's what gave me enough balls to be like, all right, I'm going to go try to fucking do this, because I think there's enough market validation here. And all of them loved the name. And I was like, really? You like the name? They're like, yeah, it's a simple name. And so Zocolt says he likes Speak Easy. Zoho, leave the stream. Leave the fucking stream. Close the computer. Leave the fucking stream. Don't ever come back. So anyway, people liked the name. Now, in terms of the logo, it's a microphone. It's a light bulb with a microphone. So I think me and my co-founder kind of came up with that together. I kind of forgot how we came up with it, but we were like, oh, it's a light bulb, which is idea, microphone, which is speaking. So microphone, idea, boom. That's how we created it. They amalgamated. Yes. Philip Rizzo. That is correct. They amalgamated. That's exactly how that happened. See, some people say that's a terrible name. Are you talking about Speakeasy or Audia? Because some people say Audia sucks, but like the majority of people are like, Audia's a fucking, like, when you think of it, you're like, yo, that's a name that could go public. Audia. Like Spotify. Like, what's a Spotify? I don't know, but it sounds like a public company. Audia. That sounds like an IPO. I could maybe go IPO. Who knows? So we'll see what happens. Okay. Some other questions. When is Kathy Wood on the show? I don't know. Hopefully she responds one day. I gotta get out to our people. Amit, have you responded to my email about idea growth ideas? Everclear. I think I saw this like 3 months ago. I probably didn't respond to this. If you can re-forward that email to me, I'll respond. I'm getting so much inbound every day, bro. I'm getting like, and I'm not saying this to be cocky or anything, but I get a lot of emails and DMs every day. And so I hate not responding to them. Like, you don't understand how much because then if you stop responding to people, you start feeling like you're better than people. And that's never the creator I want it to be. So I always want to give some response, but sometimes it's like a lot. And, if it's a lot, it's just harder to keep it going. Dexter says, I enjoyed your Instagram reels. When are you going to start posting them again? I have pretty much decided Instagram is not the platform of choice for me. TikTok is the better platform, quite frankly, because I'm thinking of it from a numbers perspective. Instagram is bullshit when it comes to distribution. Like, they have a social graph. They only show you to your friends in the social graph. For you to be able to grow, it's almost impossible because there's not unfiltered distribution. TikTok has short form video distribution algorithms on crack that actually work. So for me, I do not want to spend my time investing in a platform that just does not give a shit about me. And my approach on TikTok is a lot more calculated when it comes to distribution and growth, which is where most of Aldia's content is. And so that's the platform I'm using right now. One day I'll come back to Instagram, but quite frankly, Instagram is just like, it's not worth the energy putting into it. And honestly, if you're a startup, you don't get that many growth channels. You get one or two. Really, you're lucky if you find one and you go all in on that one until you can get to the next round to be able to grow from there. So for me, it's more TikTok versus Instagram. I love the name Aldia. Yeah, I love the name as well. I mean, I have a big emotional attachment to it. So it's it worked. After a year of people saying they like the name, I was like, all right, fuck it. It starts with an A, 5 letters. I was like, also, like, when you're coming up with startup names, they're hard, bro. Like, Google is Google today because it's Google, but it's hard to think of them. Something else. I know Google is like it's a numerical term for 0001 or whatever. And obviously the Google, how it used to be in the old days with zeros, a bunch of zeros. But for Idea, it comes from light bulb and microphone, audio idea. You put it together and it's like, boom, there you go. Spotify. I forgot the etymology. I'm fucking good with words, bro. I forgot the etymology of the word Spotify, but I researched it before, but it has something to do with like identify and spot, like identify and spotting new artists. I think they like, how do you spot a new song and then how do you identify something? And that's how they put it together to be Spotify. Big fanboy of yours. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Joseph, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. In 5 years, I would be 31 years old. 30 years old. So I'm 20. I'll be 26 in October. So basically 31. Look, in 5 years, hopefully I have a startup that is profitable and that is on a Series C round of funding, and continuing to do content on YouTube and building Finance Junkies. If I could work on my startup and keep building content, that's a dream life. I mean, that's more than I could ask for. It's kind of crazy that now that you bring it up, I pinch myself every day, and I think it's very important for everyone to pinch themselves based on your own specific situation. I wake up every day, and I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing. I mean, to put into context, I'm 25 years old. I raised $300,000 for a tech startup that it has a 99% chance of failure, just going on the odds of what it means to build a startup in the tech space. I have a YouTube channel that I grew to 20,000 subscribers in 2 years by recognizing an opportunity around demand for content and a lack of supply when it came to Palantir. And I hustled my ass off to post 4 videos a day in the beginning for those that are OGs to do what I need to do to build the audience. The reason I was able to do that is because of my debate and communication background, along with some creativity that allowed me to figure out how can I talk about the subject in so many fucking different ways that I just fucking burst through the algorithm so people have to know who the fuck I am. And then on top of that, I have a car that's almost paid off. I get to live in a home with 2 loving parents. I mean, it kind of puts your life in perspective and you get very surreal and you're like, yo, I am living a life that I've always wanted to fucking live. Is it hard every day? Do my YouTube videos not get as many views as I wanted sometimes? Is my startup not growing as fast? Am I not in the best physical shape that I want to be in? Yes, all of that can be true, but all of that is under my fucking control. And I think that's what changes everything. It's like, I can work harder to build my startup. I can be more creative, to do a better thumbnail and title that gets more views on YouTube. I can go to the gym every day like I've been doing for the past couple of weeks to be able to lose more weight. By the way, I'm at 160 pounds. I was at 175 last month. We are coming for 140 before Vegas and my 26th birthday. And so all these things that are in your control, you start to get a very stoic mindset around, holy fuck, I'm so grateful for the fact that I'm here, even if I'm not the biggest thing that I want it to be. And now I'm just going to keep grinding and do what I need to be able to do to try to get there. So it's, it's just one of those things, man. Like I was really thinking about it last night. I was just like, bro, and to put it in perspective, right? I'm 25 years old and I'm getting to do something creative for a living, right? Like YouTube, I think you guys already know this, and I'll share this with you. YouTube is paying $4,000 a month. Like $4,000 a month is like, what the fuck? $4,000 of posting. Like that's insane to me, bro. Like you can work that was what 4,000 times 12 is what, 50 grand, 48 grand a year. That's what some of my friends make after taxes at their corporate job. Now, granted, the anxiety that I have with YouTube, because it's like the views can go away like that. People can stop caring like that. The algorithm can stop giving a fuck like that. All of that is there. But all of that's kind of fun because all of that's a risk, right? All of that's like, well, I better fuck it. Today's a new day. What video am I coming up with today? What idea can I present today? How can I attract an audience today? How can I get people to care about me today? How can I build a further relationship with my audience today? How can I not sell out my soul to my audience so that I have longevity for them to keep me and not, clickbait them into some bullshit or sell them some bullshit course? How do I continue to just build and build and build, even though the stability and growth of that build is unwarranted? Because anything could happen, is random, and is also something that is unknown because you don't know how fast you're going to grow. 1 month you might get 1,000 subscribers, 1 month you might get 50. But the fact that for the past 4 or 5 months, I've been able to get $4,000 a month off YouTube. For the majority of my life on YouTube, it was like $1,200, $800. It was very low, right? For the past 4 or 5 months, actually being able to figure out, like if I can get to this threshold, I can achieve a corporate income on YouTube. It's like crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And so it's reminding myself every day, like, holy shit, this is real. Like you can actually talk in front of a camera. Bro, I don't even edit my fucking videos. I just stand in front of them and I talk. And like yesterday's video got 10,000 views. And like, did I think it would get a lot of views? Yes, because I was like, look, Palantir is down. I can offer some clarity for why it's down. I'm going to take 20 minutes of my life and record myself talking, and I will press upload, and I will do 0 editing, and I will make a thumbnail in 2 minutes that's hopefully interesting enough for people to click on. There's some people may look at that and be like, oh, that's bullshit. You did no work. I look at it as it took years to get to the point where you could sit in front of a camera for 10 minutes and just talk and have 10,000 people even be interested in what you have to say without having to do that much editing, without having to make a Mr. Beast type of video. And so the fact that I'm even here right now at 25 years old, able to do that, and I don't take that for granted at all, right? The content's got to be good. The value's got to be good. The research has to be, all that stuff has to be good. I'm not saying I just talk for 10 minutes and it's bullshit. Like I recognize how much work I've put in over the past couple of years to hyper focus and learn about the market so I don't sound like an idiot talking about this type of stuff, and I can offer some value. To even be at that point at this age, to me, is something I'm very grateful for. And what, am I getting 40,000 views? No. Would I love 40,000 views? Yes. But even that 10,000, that fucking matters. And it's this idea of being grateful. The fact that, I have money in my Robinhood, even though it's not as much as it was July 31st, I'm still grateful for the opportunity. That's what's important to me, And so that's the biggest thing right there. Tom says, Amit, you're an inspiration, brother. If I were you when I was 26, I would be so much better off now. Don't get down. You're living the dream. We are all rooting for you. And see, that's the thing that's also, that makes me very emotional, right? And the reason that makes me emotional, I have to turn on the good camera for this shit. The reason that makes me emotional is because that last sentence you said, we are all rooting for you. The idea that there are 400 people right here that are listening to me talk. And I know we're in the age of the internet where like anyone can build an internet community and blah, 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 and all this. Like, I know it's democratized. I know it's possible to do it if you put in the hard work, but the fact that it's happening, on the Palantir live stream we did 2 weeks ago, there were 5,000 fucking people there. And it's like, you start to you really get some context of like, oh my goodness, there's people that actually take a little bit of their attention during the day, whether it's for an hour, whether it's for 10 minutes, whether it's just they're thinking in the bathroom. They're like, oh, let me see what Amit's saying on Twitter. And they give you that attention. That is one of those things. That is the reason I think I have a shot to succeed in the creator economy, because so many creators that I see, they get that and then they sell it away on bullshit. They sell these stupid courses. They treat their audience like idiots. They never interact with their audience. They never respond to a DM, never respond to a comment, and they just take it for granted. And I'm like, motherfucker, do you know how hard it is to get people to care about you? much less care about your startup, much less care about, you know, your perspectives on the world. And so the fact that people actually do care, it just means the world to me. So when you say we're all rooting for you, that means a lot. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it more than I can explain. Like, bro, here's the craziest, most surreal thing. For the past 7 months, okay, I have been in my room right here, like this, morning and night. Morning stream, Finance Junkies every night. On average, if you do all the numbers, there are 500 people in the morning and at least 500 people in the night. I am sitting talking to 500 people. Sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 5,000, sometimes it's 700, sometimes it's 300. But there's an audience there. My dad is in the next room. He has no idea. My mom is downstairs. My sister is in her own world. She doesn't even know like the brand that I built. I mean, she knows that I'm on Twitter, but she doesn't really like get it. I'm like, yo, I got 17,000 followers on Twitter. She's like, oh, that's cool. Like she doesn't get it, right? She doesn't care. She's not in that world, and nor should she. But the fact that my dad is in the other room finishing his paperwork for the day. If you don't know, my dad, he has his own business. He owns his own business and he operates his own business. He's a truck driver and he delivers chips, like not semiconductors, like potato chips, to a bunch of different supermarkets in New Jersey. He does that shit every day, wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, fucking goes, delivers the chips, comes back home at 8:30 at night when I'm joking around with 600 people. He's doing his he's like finishing up his like contracts for the night, or like his paperwork. And he has no idea that like I'm talking to 800 people. Like, and like he knows, right? Like he asks sometimes how the number is. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's 800 people. And he's just like, it's like, why the fuck are 700 people listening to you? And I'm like, Dad, because I'm cool. Like, you know, it's crazy for him to even understand it. So those are the types of moments. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think everyone should try, especially on a red day, to find the moments and pockets of their life where they are so incredibly grateful for that allow you to differentiate yourself from the rest of the world, no matter how tiny it is, whether you have a daughter that's super awesome, that no one else has that daughter, you have that daughter and you're so grateful for that daughter, or you are building something on the side that's not super big, but you're still trying to build it and you're in the grind. It's one of those things to remain so grateful for, because that gratitude is what allows you to live, honestly, a happy life and actually, you know, feel like your life has purpose in a world in which, you know, everyone tries to say that your life doesn't have purpose. And so I think that matters. Coolest pushing. No, Starbuccaneers. I will meet you in life one day. I will buy you some Starbucks and I will throw it in your face for all these comments you've had, because you have the best comments in the world. But I gotta throw these that coffee in your face, and it's got to be Starbucks because your name is Starbuccaneers. Zoko says, I'm imagining the part in the Netflix movie where Amit is talking to us and showing other rooms of his sister, mom, dad activities. The Netflix movie will be crazy, bro. It's really wild, bro. Like I cannot explain how surreal it is that my mom's downstairs watching a show and I'm up here being the show, entertaining the people. And like, when you really break it down, why is that happening? Well, it's because people find some value in the content. It's like, well, why do people find value in the content? It's because you fucking created like you created this shit into the world. That's why I'm so bullish on Audia, because I believe that the tragedy of existence is solved by creativity. It doesn't have to be content, but everyone is meant to create something in the world, no matter what skill set or talents you have. And when you create something, the fact that an audience is willing to perceive and consume what you've created and give you feedback on it and actually like enjoy it to an extent, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It is insane. And so like the fact that you've been able to do that for whatever you've been able to do, it's something that blows my mind every day. And the fact that my parents are in the other room and they have like no idea what's actually happening, it's just insane. You know, it's just absolutely crazy. I just saw your dad peek through your paper bricks. They're not paper. There's real bricks. I showed you guys the videos already. I don't know how much you guys, I did admit. Now look, just because, hold on, okay. I was going to show you a part. So, oh wait, can you see it in the stream? Okay, here we go. Look, just because the bricks are a little fragile and they can be ripped sometimes. The reason I'm doing this right now and breaking the bricks is because I've been working out, okay? And I'm that strong. See this? I am that strong that I can literally rip a brick in front of you. It's not because it's paper. It's because I can actually rip it myself, okay? So it's the strength that I'm gaining going to the gym every morning, not the fabrics of the brick. So it's very important to understand that. Wise beyond your years. Admit your parents did a great job raising you. This is another thing, bro. My mom did a really good job raising me, and so did my dad. They both had very different approaches to it, but my mom and dad did a really, really fucking good job, raising me. And part of me wants to work so hard because my dad is not in the best health situation right now. Let's just say it like that. I don't want to say publicly the issue he's dealing with, but I mean, people already know my dad had open heart surgery in May. Okay, so that happened. That was rough. That happened. A couple days ago, he came with another diagnosis that I'm not going to say publicly, but let's just say it's not the best. Okay, and so part of me, he's going to be fine. I believe he's going to be fine. He should be fine. But part of me wants to also work really hard because this man wakes up at 4:30 every morning and fucking goes to work and doesn't complain about anything. I mean, I have not heard my dad complain like literally once in my life. And so part of growing YouTube and part of working hard and part of pushing 4 videos a day in November 2021 to get the world, like my dad works hard with physical labor. I work hard with intellectual labor. And I've always felt kind of guilty about that. Like that my dad is fucking working his ass off all day to make the same, if not less, than what I could make on YouTube talking. Like it blows my mind sometimes. I mean, I have public speaking clients. For those that don't know, I have a consulting firm, and I get clients here and there. There are people that pay me $150 an hour to teach them how to publicly speak and communicate. And I have this one client in Italy who reached out to me a couple months ago, and we worked like 1 hour a week just because he really wanted it, and I thought he was a really cool guy, so we networked. And like someone paying you $150 an hour, and he can afford it because he has money to talk, and then my dad has to work like 3-4 hours to maybe make $80, like, and then he's going through health issues. It's like there's a level of work ethic that steps up to another level. Like, you don't want to wake up in the morning, motherfucker. Get the fuck up. Like, wake up. This man's been waking up 30 years every single day. He fucking immigrated to America just to keep you fed. Like, work. And here's the guilty part. I enjoy the work. That's the guilty part. I enjoy this shit and I'm getting paid for it. Getting paid in the context of I'm making some money, right? Obviously I have bills and stuff. I'm not making a shit ton of money, but the fact that I can sustain a little bit of my livelihood and enjoy what I'm doing, it's always made me feel guilty because my dad doesn't enjoy what the fuck he's doing. He just has to go to work. And so it's something as a first generation immigrant also has to kind of deal with that type of stuff, and try to keep going it from there. Fourth wall demolished. I'm telling you, it's because of did you guys not see the muscle? You see the veins, bro, my veins are starting to pop out again. I'm so fucking excited. My veins were popping out in 2020. For those that don't know, I worked out like crazy. I was 130 pounds. Then I pulled my back and I couldn't work out for the next 2 years. I would stare at my veins every day in 2020 like they were like pictures of a hot girl on Instagram. Like I would literally be obsessed with my veins. Not to sound that narcissistic, but they just look good when your veins are popping out and you're a guy and you want to flex them. They finally started to pop out again after 3 years. And I look at these shits like, wow. And then I rip my bricks because I'm that strong. And it reminds me how strong I am at the end of the day. So I need Finance Junkies t-shirts and merchandise. We'll do it one day. I mean, really, we're just trying to build a brand right now. I am, for those that don't know, I'm not interested in monetizing any of this shit, which is why I got offered a $20,000 sponsorship last year. I got offered a bunch of these, like, bro, the fact that you guys care, that's what matters. And also, this game is fleeting in a second. Can I do this for the next 5 years? That's what really matters. That's why I respect me, Kevin, for all the shit he gets. He's been doing this for a while. You have to work your ass off to stay relevant for that long and keep being in people's feeds and maintaining their attention. And so the long term is what matters. Like 100,000 subscribers is what matters, not a couple of t-shirts. But eventually we'll definitely do those t-shirts. I redid my Patreon, and I didn't want to pitch this right now, but I recently thought about it yesterday because we were talking about content creation, all this stuff. I was like, look, I'm going to do my Patreon at $1 a month because I offer zero value on the Patreon. I have no paywalled content. I don't do anything extra for the Patreon subscribers. So really, why would you subscribe to the Patreon? The only reason you subscribe is because you want to support the channel. So I've literally redone my Patreon to $1 a month. I'm not even going to put the link because I'm not trying to sell you guys on the Patreon right now or anything. I just want to say that this is what I've done. It's $1 a month. And I get 80 cents of that dollar after Stripe and PayPal take their fees. And my goal over the next 5 years is to have 5,000 patrons. Because I think 5,000 people, if they're willing to give $1 a month, $12 a year, that means they really find value in the content, right? Especially if they're getting nothing for that Patreon. They're getting no newsletters, no content, no advice, nothing. And so that is my ultimate goal in the next couple of years. Can I get 5,000 people paying for a Patreon? That's $1 a month because they actually value the content. And so that's kind of where I want to push it in the context of monetization. But outside of that, I don't want to monetize the audience at all. That's just not the goal. If you want to get a workout in while you're in Vegas, let me know. I know you're here to party. Yes, Davis, we're definitely doing a workout when I get to Vegas. We're definitely doing a Vegas workout there. The veins were like gains. You stare at them and then they go away. That is so true. And they're not here right now. I got to go back. I got to work out and I got to keep going from there and keeping it going. Amit, your personal story, respect for your family and hard work, dedication, creativity, positivity, etc. is great. You're going to be fine in life. Keep it up. I appreciate that, Chris. And that's also the other thing. It's like reminding yourself that you're on a path in life for everyone who's here. And if you can just keep that path up and be grateful for the fact that you're in that path and you're doing it, that's what matters. And that's why $1 a month Patreon makes way more sense to me than trying to like take something from your audience, because that, like trying to optimize for short-term gains, very similar to the stock market, trying to optimize and squeeze as much as from your audience just to make money, or to squeeze as much from these stocks just to make money and not appreciating the long-term perspective. It's where people fail. Like it's really where people fail in the long term. You got to be able to get through the long term if you want to be able to sustain anything at the end of the day. Doug says, Dad has been through like 4 open heart surgeries. I feel you. Love you, bro. Appreciate that, man. Keenan says, I work in cardiac surgery. Hope all is good. His heart is good. His heart is really good. The problem is he has another health issue that, again, I don't want to talk about publicly, but he has another health issue. And, he's got to get through that now. But it's like even that, bro. It's like, are you going to complain about life, or are you going to remember the fact that like your dad has a health issue and he's worked his fucking ass off for you? And are you going to work harder? Are you going to grind harder? And it's like trying to find those pockets of motivation, especially on days where the market may be red, right? And you kind of hate yourself, is really what matters in the grand scheme of things. But because if not, it's a very hard thing to keep shit going. And in order to keep shit going, you got to find those pockets of opportunities that actually matter for you. I'll just keep sending you Bitcoin on Cash App. Oh my goodness, Philip, you are single-handedly going to make me a Bitcoin millionaire. When Carlos said Bitcoin's going 100,000, so if you keep sending me $1 on Bitcoin, then you will be getting me a ton of gains one day if it actually goes to 100,000, if it happens. You're the next Meet Kevin. I think I could be the next Meet Kevin, but I don't think I would ever make as much money as him, because I would never sell some $1,000 course on the psychology of getting rich. Look, I don't blame him for doing that. I would never do that shit. I'm not doing it, bro. The only time I would monetize an audience through a course is if I actually teach. Like if someone wants to pay me to do a public speaking course and I work with them one-on-one, I would do that because I feel like you're getting value. If I record some fucking $200 public speaking course and then sell it and hope 1 million people buy because I recorded for 5 hours, like I just couldn't live with myself, bro. It's not a business model that I would want to deal with. So I will probably never make as much money as me, Kevin, but hopefully I hopefully can get to his role in terms of audience. Your mom is going to get you on for the cursing. My mom has actually been okay with me cursing over the past couple months as I've gotten older. Like so, for example, my mom, she has been off for work for 8 months, and I joke with her that she does nothing all day. Obviously, she got knee surgeries and all this stuff, so she finally started going back to work this week. And so I went downstairs to her in the basement, and I was like, on Sunday night, I was like, all right, Mom, you ready for work tomorrow? She's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it's time to stop being a lazy piece of shit now. And she just started laughing. So I actually like that as well. My mom and I are developing a relationship where we can joke with each other and really have fun, just like communicating to each other, versus her being upset that I called her a lazy piece of shit. And I think that's an interesting dynamic, because a lot of people don't have that with their parents, but you got to really have a friendly vibe. And as you get older, you should become friends with your parents, less authoritative stuff, right? Like I'm 26 years old. She knows I'm an adult. So being able to be her friend and joke around with her and stuff like that. And by the way, she dishes it back to me. So she dishes it back to me more than that. It's fun, If I don't take out the trash on Wednesdays, I will definitely hear it in the I will definitely hear it when she comes home. I have a finance professional test today, and I am rather scalping an opportunity in my position. This is what it means to be a stock market investor. Instead of focusing on the tests, you focus on actually finding opportunities and gains. My parents were the same way more funny when you were older. Yeah, I agree. It's that Jersey love, 100%. Amit, when are you going to drop national competitive debater from your bio? Where is it on my bio? It's not on Twitter. It's not on YouTube. I never flex that I'm a nationally competitive debater, even though I was the 7th best debater in the United States and 3rd best speaker in Europe, and 9th debater on the USA debate team that traveled internationally from 2015 to 2016. I don't flex that, okay? But, sometimes you got to remind people what the fuck is what time it is, You got to remind people. Okay, we'll do a couple more comments and then I'm out. Also, it's about enjoying life along the way. Yes, that's why I'm going to Vegas. For those that don't know, I'm going to Vegas for my birthday. The whole junkies are going to Vegas. And see, I told my mom about that yesterday, and she was like, "You need to go to Vegas." My mom was like, "Bro, you do nothing." I mean, I don't go out with friends. I don't really have a social life. And you know, it's interesting because my mom was getting worried I don't have a social life, and I'm like, "Mom, I talk to more people every day than you have talked to for the past 53 years of you being. I talk to like 1,000 people every day now." Literally not one-on-one, but I'm talking to 300 people right now. I consider this a conversation. And because there's a chat, you know, there's a back and forth here. And so I never feel alone. I never feel like, and in 2021 I did, bro, because 2021 I was grinding on my startup. I had no YouTube audience, no Twitter audience, and I had no social life either. In fact, bro, 2021, this is how serious I was about building my startup. I had a girl who I was supposed to have coitus with in college. It never ended up happening. And then the pandemic happened, and then you know, we never were able to engage in activities that are more fun than usual. And she texted me randomly in 2021. This is when I'm in the midst of like getting all idea off the ground. And she's like, "Yo, let's have some coitus." And I'm like, "No, I'm busy." Like that's how serious I was in 2021 on just grinding. Like I was just like I was so focused. And quite frankly, you know, people can say whatever they want about that. Maybe that was good, maybe that was bad. I don't know if I raised $300,000 for a startup if I'm out there doing shit like that, because it wasn't the act of doing it. It was the mentality of, oh, I don't have to be single laser tunnel vision focused on my goal. I can go do fun stuff like that. And it's just like, I was just really fucking focused, bro. I was really, really focused. And I think that's the reason why I was able to get to the point where I'm at today. And so like, now that I'm going to Vegas, my mom is so happy because she's like, "All right, you're doing some social life stuff." But I'm like, "Mom, I talk to so many people a day. I don't even feel like I'm alone." But in 2021, I did when I had no friends, no social part. But now, because there's so much like content being put out, I constantly think I'm talking to people, even though I'm not talking to people in person. His hand called him on the other line. You are banned from using the word. I learned this word from a TV show, I think, and then I was like, "This is a perfect word. I'm gonna keep saying this word." So, are you gonna visit Wejo again? No, I'm going to Vegas for fun. Going for my birthday. The junkies are gonna go. So, not gonna. Wejo's also bankrupt, unfortunately. But yeah, it's hopefully just gonna be a fun trip. Where are you guys staying in Vegas? I actually don't know. I'm gonna try to book my tickets by the end of this week. I have no idea where we're going to stay. I got to figure out what hotel. I don't think it's going to be super expensive, but I don't think it's going to be super like shitty. It's going to be on the strip. We just got to find a good one that's there, and prices wise that works. You were lonely in 2021. You seem like a social person, not an awkward person. Yeah, I'm definitely social. I'm not awkward. But the problem is all of my friends, you got to remember, I graduated in 2020. All of my friends went corporate. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Amazon, Facebook, Deloitte, KPMG, Accenture, all this consulting shit, right? All these tech companies, all this stuff, finance companies, investment bankers. And I was running my public speaking consulting business and trying to build a startup, much less trying to even get funding for that startup for 2 years on the side. And so I had nothing in common with my friends. I'm making significantly less than they're making, but enough to pay my bills. I'm trying to like make it in content creation, and I'm trying to get people to care about my dinky little startup. The first 2 years of graduating college was the most antithetical stuff you do. Usually you get a job and then you go out with your friends every Friday. Like you do that life. And I'm like, I just did that life for 4 years in college. Why would I do that again outside of college? Now, shouldn't we focus on dreaming a little bit bigger? Even with the odds against you, shouldn't you be thinking to try to achieve the impossible and go for greatness? Like, isn't this the time to fucking do it? And so my mentality from all my friends was so different that I was just like, I can't hang out with you guys, bro. Like you guys are just, and I hung out with them here and there, right? And my close circle. I have 3 close girlfriends that are not girlfriends, that are friends that are girls, even though I made out with one of them because, you know, things happen when things happen. But they are like my best friends, Temi, Mona, Sherry, and Sarah. And so I hung out with them throughout the year in 2021, but like 2 or 3 times in the year, and not like constantly going out and being with friends. And so as a result of that, I was just, that's why I was lonely. I was working on my own shit. What if tons of us meet up in Vegas? I don't expect that to happen, bro, because I don't think I'm that big. I don't think the Finance Junkies are that big for there to be 100 people, but I'm expecting like 20 max. If there are a bunch of people, then all right, we're all getting fucked up together. It's going to be a fun time. Quote is from Big Bang. That's where it is, Dexter. Big Bang Theory, Sheldon. Yo, you just unlocked a memory from me. It was Sheldon. It was coitus. That's who we got it. I got it. What's your gambling budget? I'm going with $250. That's it. I'm going with $250 in Vegas. That's like 10 Palantir shares or 15 Palantir shares I could get. So 250, that's it. And if I lose it, I lose it. And it's all in blackjack. I'm gonna figure it out how to make it. And then I'm gonna take everything I win on blackjack, put it on black, and I'm gonna leave with like $20,000 and we'll see if that happens. But that's it. That's it. Uncle, bro, you know, I don't agree with your investing style, but I love your enthusiasm and outlook on life, and reminds me of how I used to be before I got jaded with bills. Yeah, that's the other thing, bro. It's like, I don't have that many bills yet either. Now I have bills. The bills are there. But it's not like insane yet. And so the other thing is like, and the reason why most of my friends have bills is because they got a apartment in DC that costs $3,000 a month and they have a car. It's like, you're stupid, bro. You're dumb. Because that apartment in DC for you to do Instagram stories off of thinking you're the cool shit, you're dumb. Yeah, you're fucking stupid. And if that's the reason you have bills, yeah, I'd rather stay at home in the nice suburbs. There's fucking rabbits outside. I can fucking pet a rabbit. I'm not gonna pet a rabbit, but like the fact that I get to live at home and not have those bills, that's also like, that's just smart in my opinion. So people can clown it. Also, bro, I help my parents around the house. They've been sick for the past year, and now my dad's getting decently sick. So like, I want to help. I want to take care of them. I don't need to be single right now or be in an apartment right now doing nothing. So, amid going full long on bro, Tinder goes public. I'm buying them. Well, no, they are public, right? With Match Group. I haven't looked into Match financials. I should look at them. Hinge is way better than Tinder. Hinge is like actual dating profiles. Tinder is just like hookup shit. I've used Tinder 3 times in my life. Once was in Boston, once was in Kentucky, once was in New Jersey. And I can say those because I remember each 3 of those times. All of them were in college. But outside of that, Tinder is like, it's a pile of shit, to be honest. There's nothing good there. I'm looking forward to Vegas. Imnop, I'm also looking forward to Vegas. Admit you're 25. F a social life, get your money. Yeah, I agree. And again, it's so weird to me because I feel like I'm so social on Twitter and YouTube because I'm constantly talking to people all day that I don't feel like, oh, I need friends. Like I have a lot of internet friends and I want to meet them in person, but like, you're not even supposed to talk to your real friends that much. I'm talking to my internet friends daily more than people talk to their real friends. So I actually feel like the social life is there a lot more than what people would think. Amit, Palantir weekly tonight. Yes, Sofi weekly tonight. Palantir weekly tonight as well. Are Sean and Steve going to Vegas? Okay, Sean's definitely not going to be able to come because Sean's very busy. I'm going to call Steve right now. Let's call him right now and ask. Steve has a wife. I don't know if Steve is down to actually like go to Vegas. Let's call him right now. If Steve gets fucked up with me in Vegas, that would be the coolest thing in the world. Let's see if he picks up. Let's see. He's probably in a meeting right now at work. Come on, Steve. We got to see. I met my wife on Tinder and we've been together for 7 years. Wow. Not bad. Steve.
Hello.
Steve, are you at work?
I am in the office, yes.
Okay. I'm live with 332 people right now. I've been doing the morning open live stream for an hour and 41 minutes because we started talking about a bunch of stuff outside of the markets. I want to ask you some questions about the markets. Okay. But before I do that, I have a proposition for you. Are you ready to hear it?
I am waiting.
Okay. So I want you to come to Las Vegas with me from October 27th to October 30th to celebrate my 26th birthday with Carlos Vitale and Chris. Are you down to get fucked up with us in Vegas?
I would love to. I need to see if I can.
Okay, let's say you're free. Let's say everything checks out. Let's say the wife lets you go. Would you be down to spend 4 days with us in Vegas?
Yeah, of course. I gotta look at my work stuff. It's insurance renewal season, so it's really not a good time work-wise. What are the dates?
October 27th to the 30th. But you don't have to come all 3 days. You could come for like 2 days, whatever it is.
Let me see what I can pull off. It's my busy season, but I will see what I can do.
Okay, now if you come to Vegas, you got to get fucked up with us. You're not just going to be the guy in the corner, right?
If I come to Vegas, I'm going to be the crapster.
Okay, cool. So you're going to be gambling. You're going to be having fun. We're going to smoke cigars in Vegas. So I've never smoking a cigar. So you're going to teach me how to smoke a cigar. And you're going to ring in my 26th birthday. Steve, there is no one in the planet I would rather spend my 26th birthday with than you.
I appreciate that. And
No, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just saying that. Like I consider us friends, and like that would actually be a really fun way to celebrate my birthday.
I will see what I can do.
Okay. Now, having said that, markets are red. Any thoughts and any psychology from someone who is a seasoned investor on how people can deal with some of the red that's going on?
Yeah, I haven't even looked today.
That's actually the best answer, Steve. That's actually the best answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at it day to day during the day. I got shit to do. But look, the bottom line is, if you're a long-term investor, who cares? This isn't an accumulation phase, for me at least. I mean, the peak that we saw, 2-3 weeks ago when everything was going up during earnings, I think everybody knew that that wasn't going to last and people were going to take profits. Stuff is going to sell off. It always does. But over the long term, the markets go up. There's always fluctuation. And if you are unable to deal with swings or volatility, stay in cash, go in bonds. Like, there's other investment vehicles. But there's nothing wrong with just being in an S&P 500 ETF also to capture gains.
Steve, how happy are you going to be if Tesla goes to 180 again?
So,
because then those articles are going to look even more genius than they looked when you published them.
Chris may have sent me a text with something, and I may have sent him a text back that it's going lower than what.
It's lower than 150? Really? You're going to say that? You think that's going to happen?
You seriously asking me that?
Yeah, I'm seriously asking you. You think it goes lower? I thought 150 was a bit conservative. I mean, a bit overly, whatever. I thought 150 is going to be hard to get. You think it's going below 150?
Look, I think that there's a lot of things going on, and it makes me. Why is Musk getting in a Twitter battle with Zuckerberg about fighting? Like, okay. It doesn't make any sense. Musk is out of shape. He's much older than Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg is actually taking this seriously. This is all smokescreen. Something's wrong. Something is seriously wrong.
Maybe Musk is just bored, bro. He's just like a bored guy. Maybe that's why
the guy's running 5 companies. He has no time to be bored.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
He has no time to be bored. Something is going on. And look, the whole, you know how I feel about the EV thing. I'm not against EVs by any means, but a lot of people still look at internal combustion engine vehicles, and the numbers for Tesla still don't make sense. They just don't.
All right, I gotta go. But basically, I mean, look, I think valuations get lower. If the S&P goes to 420, that can also happen as well, and increase competition margins. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. You're going to be on SoFi Weekly tonight and Palantir Weekly tonight, right?
Yeah, I'll be on. But think about this. You have a Fed who may raise rates in a couple of weeks.
They're not raising rates, Steve. They're not fucking raising. You think they're going to raise rates?
Have I been right so far?
Yeah, but I don't think you're right on this one. I don't think they're raising rates again.
Have I been right so far? Have I not been one of the only people saying they're not cutting this yet and they're going high?
You're right that they're not cutting. I don't think they're raising again, bro. I don't think.
They may.
Okay.
They may. Now, if they do, you already have mortgages that crossed over 7%. People are not buying new vehicles the way people thought that they would be buying them.
You're correct about this. You're correct about that. Yeah.
And I really think that these rates, even if the Fed doesn't increase, these rates are restricted to buying new automobiles. And that's not good for Tesla. It's not good for the auto industry in general. But the longer this gets prolonged, the more time for other vehicle companies to come out for competition. Toyota, I sent you that stuff about their new battery technology. Now, people can have a bias toward Tesla, and that's fine. But the reality is, people who have bought a Mercedes for a substantial amount of time, people who bought BMW, people who bought Subaru, they're likely to stick with those companies. Tesla's not going to be the one ring to rule them all in the auto industry. Now, personal preference is always personal preference. I have a friend that has owned many different types of vehicles, and he swears Tesla is the best vehicle he's ever owned, from Mercedes to BMW to Alfa Romeo, et cetera, et cetera. But I live in New York, and I see many of these other vehicles on the road compared to Tesla. I don't think adoption is going to be at the 50% year-over-year rate that people think.
All right, yeah. Look, you might be right, Steve. I got to go, but one last question for you. Are you actually at work? If you're able to have this conversation with me, is that real work, or are you just like playing pretend work?
No, it's real work. You called my cell phone. I'm on a meeting. I'm going through insurance policy, so I picked up.
So you get paid to talk on a live stream via phone and not actually work. That's what you're telling me.
I am telling you that I work for my company outside of the boundaries of 9 to 5. So if I feel like picking up the phone when somebody calls me, I am allowed to.
The last time I checked, it's 11:09 a.m. Eastern, which is in between the 9 to 5. And so I feel like you are working on the company's dime right now, and you're not actually working for them.
Trust me, I will be working for the company well past 5 o'clock tonight. So this phone call does not.
Steve, why don't you just actually say the real answer? You're a big dog at the company. You can only work 5 hours a week and still generate them a shit ton of returns. You've been doing this for 10 years. You know who the fuck you are. You're the mafia boss, and you don't need to work that hard because you earned your respects. That's how it is, right?
No, that is not how it is.
That is how it is, bro. Talk your shit. Bro. My mom went to work yesterday. She told me she was watching fucking Indian soap operas for like 5 hours because she didn't have to do shit. Like, you know, she's been doing it for 10 years. She can do her shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, well, you know, if you want insurance policies to lapse, or you want workman's comp stuff to not occur, and you know, you want property claims to go to void, then sure, I can watch videos and get fired. But for stuff that needs to get done, I'm an army of one.
Okay, well, I appreciate the fact that you pick up my phone call whenever I call and you're able to offer us some value. So I'll see you tonight on SoFi Weekly. I'll see you on Palantir Weekly.
Yeah, we're going to have to discuss a purchase I've been making.
Oh, you've been making purchases?
Who the fuck is calling me?
Ah, you got.
This is one of my insurance carriers. I got to take this. I'll talk
Okay,
to you
so you actually do work. So you actually do it. All right, bye. Talk to you later. I'll see you in Vegas. See, I heard. Did you guys hear the phone ringing in the background? He's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta take this." That proves he actually does do some real work. Okay, so should we end the stream there? Well, we'll have SoFi Weekly, Palantir Weekly tonight, and he's ready for Vegas, bro. If Steve comes to Vegas, bro, if me, Chris, Steve, Vitaly, and Carlos are in Vegas, that's gonna be a hell of a weekend. That's gonna be fun. He sells insurance. He does something with insurance. That was just the wife calling. The wife was like, "Get off that live stream. You're gonna get fired." He played a sound effect. It sounded like an office phone, bro. It sounded like a real office phone. Steve's like a Mitt's white older brother, literally, bro. Steve literally calls me for life, for stocks, for all this shit. That's why I really do. I was serious. I would love to bring in my 26th birthday with people that actually care about me and that I communicate with. There are friends from high school and college that I don't want to spend my 26th birthday with them, bro. Like I don't talk to them anymore. But Carlos, Chris, Vitaly, Steve, I talk to these guys every fucking day, bro. Those are the relationships I want to accentuate versus, you know, old stuff in the past that really doesn't matter that much more. I'm coming for a day. All right. So you're so cool. I forgot what state you're in, but if you're coming, bro, you're coming. It's going to be so exciting. I got to ask Adam too. Adam is a newborn though. I don't know if he'll be able to leave his newborn for that long, but I'll ask for Adam. Alec, you're pulling. Yo, if all of you pull up to Vegas, this is going to be a movie. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be cool. And again, you don't have to stay there all 3 days. It could just be like one night. We have a bunch of fans and we go out. But then the other couple nights, you don't have to be there. Imnop, I know you're going. Adam Bergman would be awesome. Your new family, Amit. Yep. Basically, bro, I talk to these people more than my regular friends. So it's more fun. All right. That's it for me. Thank you all for joining. Special 2-hour edition live stream of Palantir Weekly of the Market Open. By the way, the market, while I've been talking, actually recovered a little bit. Robinhood at 1022, Nvidia 424, it's down a little bit. S&P at 435, it's up from 434. Nasdaq's up. It was at 13,167, 189. Now it's at 13,244. SoFi at 822, up 1.36%. Palantir at 1423. My freaking option spreads that no one reminded me I was closing have not filled because now the price is $1.03 versus 93 cents when I closed them. So sadly, those options are probably not going to execute, but hopefully they do. Truist at 28.87. So we got a little bit more recovery from the green. Enphase, where's Enphase at? Enphase at 130. PayPal 59. Oh, that's up about 2%, 1.6%. Coinbase is down. Bitcoin is still down. Meta is still down. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of recovery. Maybe we get a little bit green into the end of the day, and then we'll see what happens going into Monday. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. It means the absolute world to me from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying for the past 2 hours. I know you have busy things to do on Friday, whether you're at work and just listening or you were on actually watching. I really appreciate you. It means the world to me. You guys are basically like family to me. It's the most exciting thing to do every morning, to be able to do this and actually be able to develop some form of a living from it and keep it going. And just got to keep the grind going, keep pursuing these dreams as we're trying to keep building, and be grateful and humble for the opportunities that we have, especially when things aren't going the best in the market. And just remember that we're still here, we're still human, we're still alive, we have our health, and there's a lot of opportunities left to succeed on this planet if we just keep working and we get rid of all the noise and just do what we got to do. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Have a good night. Bye-bye, everyone.